What's up, everybody? Welcome to the GameOverGreggy show. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Remember, during the show, you've given me consent to casually place my hand on your thigh.
Here's my problem with you. We do the pre-show. We put the pre-show content up on patreon.com/kindafunny where people can go watch it there, right? But you're just giving away the goods of what happened on the pre-show. Wouldn't it have been funnier, ladies and gentlemen, if you're at home watching this on YouTube, you got your baby right there in the sink and you're rubbing its head.
Yeah, I hope.
All right. Took all of 1 minute. 1 minute before you made yourself
And you just look over, and Nick's hand is just disappearing under the table.
Well, they can't see where my hand's going. Kevin, go back to the wide real quick.
Again.
Oh, yeah,
they know that's out of the comfort zone.
There
for
it's
you.
fine. Here it's questionable. There it's getting like we've disappeared into Gregland, into flavor country.
On top of Old Smoke, over there at Tim Gettys.
Let Tim host. I love this. For the people wondering, Square Enix sent us cup noodles, so they're here. What?
We're supposed to say, if you're wondering about this, go watch the pre-show on patreon.com/kindafunny. Do you want to recap every conversation?
Could we redo the pre-show for people who aren't paying for it? Because that would be...
Yeah. We talked about karate for a while.
And rounding out the group, Mega64's Rocco.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming by.
Thank you. You know, it's about time. I just want to say it's about time. You know, I know that the influence of this show has always been hip hop and hip hop music, and I am here, and I've done that.
Give him a beat, Rocco rap.
Ew.
Greg and the boys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's it. That's a hip hop show if I've ever heard of one, ladies and gentlemen.
That's second round of applause of the show.
Oh, no, there's a lot more. There's a lot more.
You have to stay.
Yeah, no.
Oh, why did
actually a hip hop show?
Somebody's got to tell me how long this is.
No, because if you didn't know, this is the GameOverGreggy show.
Okay.
Each and every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table, each bringing a random topic of discussion for your amusement. If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindafunny where you can get each and every episode early. How early, Nick?
You could be watching it right now, and Greg could be telling us how bad of a job we're doing because we spoiled all the pre-show stuff.
I'm just saying, you go in there, you pour yourself a big old tall glass of whiskey every day, and you go, the numbers. Oh, the numbers.
I do. I really do. You're
Your hair
right.
falls out. I'm telling you, this is how you get them. This is how you get the juice. Kids watch this show. They're like, why is all this deciduous stuff on the table?
so many cup noodles?
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder what the origin
It would be
of cup
hilarious
noodles
to start a
is.
show, though, with like a cataclysmic... Like the studio's torn apart.
on fire.
Everyone's fucked up. We're all bloody. We make no mention of it. And then we tell people they have to go to the pre-show.
Go to the pre-show. Because, of course, every Friday we post the show. Pre-show and all over on patreon.com/kindafunny as well. A big video. Then there's the MP3 version that I don't think has the pre-show or post-show. Doesn't matter. And then if you don't want to give us any money, it's no big deal. You can head over to youtube.com/kindafunny and podcast services around the globe the following Friday to get the show free.
You know what? I'm going to say it is a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah?
I think you should give them money. Yeah. How about that?
Patreon's a big deal.
Keep it controversial. Sorry.
I appreciate that.
Sorry, not sorry.
Hey.
You know what I mean? Hashtag sorry,
Demi
not
Lovato.
sorry.
Demi L.
Demi L.
L.
Blue belt.
This show's going to be worth $1. If you think so, head over to Patreon.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Blue belt.
Worth $1.
She's a blue belt Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Demi Lovato's a blue belt?
Demi Lovato, blue belt Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. She trains.
Really?
Here's my first question. I don't remember which one Demi Lovato is.
Baby,
And
I'm sorry.
Camp Rock?
I'm not sorry.
Oh,
That's what that song
You weren't
is.
like a Camp Rock nut?
no.
She's awesome.
rock.
You
It
weren't-
is weird though.
you
I was
weren't a
having
camp
this
head?
conversation with Yusuf the other day, and he was like, "Wait, which one is she?" And I'm like, "It's
No,
hard."
Kevin's showing me photos of her. I know what she looks like. I don't know her song.
She's just not very
She did
ubiquitous.
We're
Like she
Cool
hasn't
for the
broken through to
Summer.
the Katy Perry.
Well, wait, was it?
We're cool for the summer.
Okay, I didn't remember.
Take me to. Are you allowed to
also
do this,
did-
or do we get a? Do
We won't
get
get
a
a strike
strike
on that one.
Oh,
She also did Let It Go from the Disney.
Let it go.
hit movie
Oh,
Frozen.
let it
Oh,
go.
she
Oh, that's
sang-
right.
well,
She
she
did
did
the
the
I
album
thought that would
the real version.
Eliza
album
Bazuva. Elizabeth.
You're thinking of Adele
Like the pop
Dazeem.
version.
That's the one.
Like the
That's the one. My
You're thinking of
apologies.
Idina Menzel,
real Billboard.
which
hit.
remember
No,
when-
not the woman from Fast and the Furious.
In the movie,
Maria
but the album,
Menounos.
The album was.
Weird that she came out of nowhere for
Yeah, where was she in? Oh,
Here's
the
what
Royal
I'll
Rumble,
say.
yeah.
Here's what I'll say. If you're in one of these Disney animated flicks,
Yeah.
sing
Yeah.
your own fucking song.
That's what I say too.
I don't want
Yeah.
your Jonathan Taylor Thomas's voice sounder likes. I don't like your Aladdin's. We're gonna switch
You
it
know,
off.
I
Well,
would-
they
Nowadays
did
they
in the
do that,
movie.
though.
They did in the movie. It was just what's her face? Demi Lovato did the album version. That's it.
I
In the
would-
movie, they
Modern day, they don't have different singers.
They don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Don't
Tangled.
do it.
yeah.
We got what's your name?
Mandy Moore.
Thank you. Shouldn't have blacked on that.
I will say the only time that I think it's didn't necessarily work though was when they go live action and Emma Watson has to sing.
Ooh.
Love Emma Watson.
No.
No. not a singer.
Don't do that.
Never saw it.
Luke
Never
Evans,
saw it.
on the other hand, if that
Why
was his
did they
real
make
voice,
that
he's
in
a
the
great
first
singer.
place? Just
Luke
go
Evans,
see the
man.
cartoon.
That was my wife's assessment as well. She was like, we were 5 minutes and she's like, stop. I don't want to watch
But
this.
it gave you more backstory on the windmill that no one really asked.
Yeah, that's what
and
we
the
want.
past stuff, right? Like, wasn't there more about her mother? Is that what it is?
All right. Well,
How come Warner Brothers doesn't get in on the live action remake thing? Do a live action Bugs, or a
That'd be
live
terrifying.
action Elmer Fudd.
Yeah.
I gotta
Oh, Bugs
I gotta
Bunny.
kill this fucking rabbit.
You have.
Okay, there it is. I just killed that wabbit. Did you just say rabbit? This is how I talk.
don't mock me. Yeah, you know what I mean?
That's
don't
a
mock me.
script.
You'll die
The
too.
WB exec is watching.
Yeah,
You can take that one.
Disney's
That's
cashing
yours.
in on that. Warner Brothers sitting there, fucking
themselves off,
pulling their
man.
pud.
See? No! I told you. It is a real phrase.
Don't.
Pud is a
Is that
real
not a
phrase.
phrase?
No, it is. And they think I'm
Your
crazy.
parents never said, "What are you pulling your pud in there?"
No, my parents definitely didn't. But I say the
Mine
word
didn't.
pud all the time, and Tim's like, "That's not a real word." I'm like, "I think it
Yeah.
is."
It's not even that's not a real word. It's just gross. That's gross.
Oh, it's
Pud
the worst
sounds
thing ever.
nasty.
that's not what I want to call
It's-
anybody's genitals.
It's not good.
Because you know it's limp. You know a pud is limp.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And it's probably not going
Pud.
to
The
get
thing
any
is,
more than limp.
Pud and Schmegma go real close together in my mind.
And also, too, the word pud,
not where I wanted this
I
episode
just
to
hear
go.
sound effects.
Yeah.
Like you say, you're pulling your pud, I just hear,
Yeah, like if you called it your fapper.
you know what I mean? I don't know.
Fapper sounds even worse. Sounds like a piece of skin that you're playing with.
Yeah, but I'm still a little bit removed. Fapper, it's,
Fapper sounds like
pud.
flapper, like a flapper dancer from the 20s, and that's hot.
I'll never forget the conversation Tim and I had
Dun,
when
dun,
the fapping
dun,
happened.
dun.
I was like, "What are you talking? What's FAP stand for?" And you just said Nick. And you just shook your head.
oh no, that's
and you
not
were like,
a good,
"It's the
good
sound that it
question.
makes when you
Not a
fap."
good question.
No,
Yeah.
don't ask about
Rocco, this,
Don't ask.
you comment on this show. It's the crossover people have been asking for. They've been wanting
Oh,
the Mega
they have
64.
asked.
This
Okay.
actually happened because of Twitter. Right?
Oh yeah.
Remember they tweeted saying you should
Yeah.
come on the show, and we said yeah, and then we started talking, and then here you are.
People do that about podcasts all the time. Have this guy on. Oh, this guy's been making stuff for 15 years. Wow, this is the best stuff I've ever watched. This is so entertaining.
I
You're
miss
the
some of
only
those
one
things.
that fell for it. The only one that
Well,
took
we're
the
always
hook.
around. We're always at the same events.
That's true.
Doing
That is
things.
true.
I
That
remember
is
the
true.
old days when I was I went to the first PAX East, I think it was, where I went
Yeah.
there and I was walking by and I saw your booth and I was like, I know those guys from the Mega 64
Yeah.
videos, and I was too intimidated to come say hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
No, those
now
are
here
fun.
here I
we are.
am.
You
The
stay at my house?
intimidation still remains.
It's true. I won't look you in the eye. I'm afraid to. This is we've deemed then the internet episode.
The internet.
All of
Yeah.
our topics somehow revolve around the internet or internet shenanigans.
Yep.
So Rocco, you go ahead and begin. What's your topic?
Well, kind of what I was bringing up earlier is, the internet is very different now compared to, our group Mega64. We started, this is insane to think, but we started 15 years ago.
Jesus.
Which in internet time is like, that's like.
You were putting it on VHS at the time.
How old were you guys when you
We
started?
really were. No, in all seriousness, we started as a public access show, and when we wanted to show like, oh, there's a band, we want we want to use their music. How do we show them all our stuff? We sent VHS tapes. That is not a joke, man. That's harrowing to think
That
about.
is amazing.
Yeah.
But anyway, what was the question? Oh, so it's a very different place since back then. And so I wanted to ask these guys, what is something you miss? Back in those days, not everyone was on the internet. Now everyone and their mother is on the internet and, they're all sharing whatever. But back in the day, it was just us. And we had it to ourselves. What do you miss from those early days of the internet? A lot of stuff is better, but a
Yeah.
lot of stuff may not be. So what do you think?
I don't know. It's hard for me to come up with things that I actually miss that aren't just nostalgia, that aren't just things that I'm like, oh, that was,
Yeah.
it's fun to remember that. But it's like, it's better now. Like thinking back, it's like, yeah, I miss things like Napster and I miss that music discovery era that I went
Yeah.
through. But it's better now. You can just look on YouTube and listen to anything you want instantly.
Or like Apple Music or whatever service
Yeah.
for a few bucks, you have it. Yeah.
You have everything.
So that stuff is
legally.
great. Yeah.
But then even more than that, it's like the idea of, everybody knows I love internet video. I've loved internet video for as long as it's existed. And man, as much as I loved it then, it's way easier to get now. Having to spend 3 days downloading videos because YouTube didn't exist. That wasn't fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say I missed that.
No. In terms of video, yeah, it's a lot more accessible. Yeah.
The thing about it, right, is I feel like when we talk about what we miss, it's not so much the quality of the experience, but it's the experience itself.
Yeah.
It is the nostalgia. Like, did you ever play Emily is Away?
No.
It's this amazing game. Tim and I have a bunch of Let's Plays up for Emily is Away and Emily is Away 2. I guess we have 2. But it's such a callback to, it's a game you play through Instant Messenger, just aim, right? So there's the dial-up sound, like,
Yeah, okay, I know
like
about that.
doing that and getting the ding and the door
Yeah.
closing on your buddy list, like those were like watching. I was like, holy shit, I
Yeah.
missed that. And when you ask that, that's what I jumped to. But I think what it is it's the. What you're talking about, that there weren't that many people doing it and it was brand new.
Yeah.
So it was the way you did it, right? It was that there was a routine that, like, when you, I'm gonna get on the internet, and I took over the phone, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, everybody off the phone, Mom, I'm gonna get on the internet for like an hour.
The hour before I go to school, that's my time.
Yeah,
Everyone
exactly.
Off
Off
the
the,
phone.
fucking phone, and then you'd have the and like the connection and make sure. There was always, since I've always had trouble with PC from day one. There was like, is it gonna work? Is it going to connect? And then it would connect, and then it was like that one moment. We were AOL family, right? Of just like,
me too.
welcome, and then it was like the deep breath of, you've got mail. And like, oh fuck, I have mail.
Send me
Yeah.
some shitty flash thing.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what this is.
Yeah.
And you jump into it, and it was just like, there was like a processional to it.
Oh yeah, I mean that's that. When I think back, I'm like that. That is, I think, the one thing I do miss is that there was. I feel like it was. We're never gonna feel like there's something really, really, really new like that technologically. On the internet, like it was in those first few days, right? Specifically, like think back to the days of YouTube, where people, and like you, for instance, like you used to use like big heavy MySpace user, and people could get discovered there, and you were like, what? Like you could be a fucking megastar because of the internet? Like that doesn't make any sense. You don't have to go through this weird like fucking Hollywood system that chews you up and spits you out or whatever. Or you have to like I had friends that would go and like work as like in the mailroom and PAs and things like that on lots just to try to make their way into trying to get whatever they could get. And then there's guys like Tim who are just like, nah, man, I figured out MySpace and make a Mario video, and then all of a sudden like your world skyrocket. So I just think like, I think back to those days, and I always think like, oh, if I knew then what I know now, right? And I think it's so much more saturated now, and there's so many more cool new things happening all the time now that the general excitement level for me has been sort of dulled to like by 5%.
Sure.
And I just don't know if we'll ever get back to that, because everything's become so ubiquitous now. Streaming is the internet, but it's not really the internet. It's like everything's kind of the same now, you know?
Sure.
Whereas there was that clear line back when I first started at IGN where like, we were still, back in when I started at IGN, I think they were still trying to prove, well, no, at that point I think they'd cemented the fact that they were kind of like, hey, .com is better than magazine, but we were still having those problems with like print. Yeah. And it was still like, hey, how do we convince publishers that they should come to us when we can't literally give them, like, everyone wanted the cover. Yeah. And a cover was a big deal. And I kept asking people, I'm like, why is a cover big? We have metrics. We can actually tell you how many fucking people saw like this image and this story. And they would be like, no, but PR people like to walk into their boss's office and go, boom, we got the cover of this magazine. And that was like, so I felt like that was like, I remember feeling like we were the underdogs in that. And then, 5, 6, 7 years into my career at IGN, obviously like the internet just became pretty much what it is now. And it was hard. You were like, come on guys, like, come on.
Then there was the fight with YouTube of
then it became
being
YouTube,
like, no, we're not going to give our content to YouTube.
Yeah, we're not going to do a rev split with this company that's like, I think even at the time, like that was prior to Google buying them out, right?
Well, yeah. So YouTube really like existed in 2005, and then it wasn't until like 2008-ish that people were getting partnered, and it wasn't really until 2010 that a lot of people were monetizing YouTube. Right. So it's like there was a big kind of a lot of gaps there. So you look at people like Rooster Teeth and IGN and all these people that are now mega hits on YouTube. Yeah. They didn't even join YouTube, like didn't even upload videos until at least 2008.
That's weird.
Yeah. Rooster Teeth was especially like late to that. It was like, well, after all this time, they're finally going to have a Flash player, and then YouTube, and it was that. I remember thinking like, wow, that's crazy. But,
what do you miss?
I think for me, most stuff in terms of convenience and all those things is better. But I do miss some community aspects because back then it was just kind of niche groups on the internet. And so specifically with gaming, you would go to a forum for like Final Fantasy and it was just excitement. It was just, Oh, 8 just came out. Wow. Oh, I can't believe this. Oh, the graphics. Wow. I hear 9 is coming out next year. No way. There's no way that'll be out next year.
9? You tell me there's a fucking 9?
It was just a celebration. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It hadn't quite become the now everyone's involved and it's like, well, Final Fantasy is the worst thing I've ever played. Well, why are you here then? It got more complicated, but in those times it was like, guys, today I got Star Ocean. You did? Wow. I haven't been able to find that. I don't know. Having a little bit more, it was kind of like a scarcity thing almost, and so if you talk to someone who had played Final Fantasy 3 on Super Nintendo, you were like friends with them forever. You know what I mean? And now it's like, oh, you play it great. Like you just handed me.
I remember, like I would do like AOL keyword search or whatever, right? Trying to figure out message boards and make it work. And I remember there was a DC Comics one, and I remember I'd go there and post about every issue and all the stuff. And I remember we got our first scanner, because we needed to do some project where my dad wanted to try to save all these old photos. And so we just had the scanner, and I would scan.
I think everyone's dad did that.
Yeah, right.
It was like,
this is future.
I just came in and
where
my dad
I'd
had
scan them and then print them and put them into a book or whatever, right? But I'd go on there and share images from comics and we talk about it, and everybody was. And I remember when I felt I've never felt more accomplished as a comic book fan at the time when I scanned this panel from Young Justice that had this character from Supergirl in it, and Peter David popped in, who's the writer or whatever, and was just like, "Oh man, I can't believe somebody found this already. I totally threw it in there. I missed it." And I was like,
Yeah,
the creator speaking to me. You know what I mean? Like this is insane.
I think that's kind of a very interesting kind of breaking point for the internet of where it went from what it was to what it is. Where I'm lucky enough that I grew up and the internet was essentially part of my life for my entire puberty on, right?
Yeah, Peter.
And you're pretty much like one of the first generations.
Looking at
I would say that like
you're the internet generation.
Being born in 1989, it is probably the first generation of people that grew up with the internet totally being a thing. And like I had AIM from the moment I was trying to talk to girls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I had that all going for me. But then it is, you talking about MySpace, like there was everyone wants to be a hipster, especially when it comes to music. Everyone wants to be like, I heard that shit first.
Yeah, of course.
Cool. And MySpace really gave me that ability where a lot of, like I was always the first person to know about the bands that were going to make it. Macklemore, Gym Class Heroes, like all these groups were
Diana
just
Ross.
like, I could just, or Lord even in more recent times. But it was like my friends would look to me and be like, oh, like Tim always knows what's up in the music. Is all I did was just follow like what was trending, like who were the self-starters on MySpace that were like getting featured and stuff. And you could talk
Tequila.
Tila Tequila.
Fuck.
But it's like you can interact with these people. And that was the key difference is you being able to talk to the comic creator.
Yeah.
It's like having that kind of two-way street, which is all that we do now.
Yeah. But again, you take it for granted now.
Totally take it for granted. But like that was such a novelty and that differentiated them from, these mass marketed just things being thrown to us.
In MySpace's infancy, I remember when the American Office, the Office debuted on NBC, and it was like not very high rated. Not that many people watched it, and very few people are on MySpace. And I remember I forgot what the actress's name who plays Pam. Jenna Fisher.
Yep.
Jenna Fisher had a MySpace, and it was like, I don't know, is this fake? But she would post pictures from the set, and it was like she had like 100 followers. And one of the nicest things that's ever been done is my friend Sean, when it was my birthday, he messaged her like, "Hey, Rocco loves this show." My friend Rocco. Is there anything you have, just like a free thing you could send? And she fully corresponded with him and took this a photo of the whole cast and got it signed by everyone in the cast. And I have this. It's like "Happy Birthday, Rocco" from Steve Carell and like all.
Oh, that's
it was
awesome.
when but no one was on MySpace. It was like her 100 friends, so she was doing stuff for all of them. And it was so personal. And it,
awesome.
So I still have that frame. That was really cool.
That's fucking rad.
Yeah, that's one of the things I think back to. Obviously, I'm always the person that's like slowest in the uptick here, like, and so I think it was just such a simpler time back then.
Yeah.
Where like if you wanted content, I mean, we're talking about obviously a specific moment in the internet where MySpace became big, and this is the time in my brain. This is when like DVRs or TiVo was becoming big, right? And so like
TiVo.
you weren't getting
TiVo.
content. Like it was just such an interesting time because you didn't look to the internet for content.
Yeah.
You looked at the internet for some level of like connectivity with other people, and that's what you're talking about, right? It's like when you were trying to figure out like forums or like even going back farther, like bulletin board systems, you had to really fucking want to connect with people to get your head wrapped around what the fuck these were, right?
Yeah,
and
you
really
couldn't
kind
just
of
jump in. It was like, okay, I'm gonna see what everyone's kind of.
See, I'm so lucky. I didn't have to experience any of that. Like for me, since day one, going to the internet was for content.
Yeah.
Like it was like when I wanted to watch movies, back then it was way easier to do it illegally than it is legally.
Yeah.
Now it wasn't even possible legally back then, but people would rip DVDs, rip VHSs, and
Did
get
you
them
not see
uploaded.
the little warning beforehand? It was like if you wouldn't steal a car.
They didn't rip that part. Yeah, so I didn't.
I like
see
that
they just cropped out the watermark.
Yeah, but like that, just like that was just how that all went down, and like then with the advent of iTunes, that really changed that whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to see where we're at because it's like you talking about AOL and like having that you got mail and stuff. We still have that. It's just notifications on Twitter.
Oh, sure. No. That's still there. But here, the thing is like the ceremony of it all is gone. Where like literally, flying back from Canada the weekend, like landing and be like, oh man, I've been on the internet in 6 hours. I can't wait to see tweets. And I popped on, and in 10 minutes I had seen it all. And then I was like, it's that how you do the cycle where it's like I go to Twitter and I go to Instagram and I go to my thing, and then I went back and I go to Reddit and then I went back to Twitter and I was like, wait, what? And just put it up and put it away.
Just scrolling. But that's funny. I remember when I got my first flip phone that had internet access.
Yeah, me
the
too.
Motorola T720. Shout out to that. And then I remember going to try to find game facts on it because I was addicted to looking at game facts every night.
Yeah.
And I would just like look at all the boards, and it was so shitty and such a cumbersome process because like the cell phone was not made for that, which I'm still T9 and all that shit.
Right.
And I was just like, I still forced myself to use it because I was like, the novelty of it was so cool. Or when the PSP came out, just being able to have movies on your fucking like portably was so cool and rad, even in a horrible aspect ratio and it being all weird and messed up and having to use your weird ass like codecs and shit. But like, it's just that's the type of stuff that I really think back on, where now it's like I definitely take it for granted that I can look at Reset Era at any moment on my phone, and I do constantly throughout the day.
Yeah.
But I do want to bring up though, just going back to when you said you were an AOL family.
Hell yeah.
And you would just enter keywords because it would be like keyword Jack, and that would be Jack in the Box would have their own like menu of stuff or whatever.
Wow.
Me and groups of friends that I had on AOL, we would we would do the same thing.
Yeah.
And actually there was a huge incident because we, through a series of random names, we found a staff message board. It was like AOL, like back end staff stuff. And when you're that I'm like a preteen, there things that are funny to you are like random words, like monkeys, dishwashers and stuff. And
they're still hilarious.
You know what I mean? Just randomness, And one day I came home from school and my dad was just sitting there like, I got a letter from AOL today. We've been disconnected. It's like, what happened? Because that was my daily thing. Like, what? How could this happen? Someone told me that someone broke in to a staff message board, and I have the transcript. Eat some ham. Who wants ham? We just, so for some reason I posted about ham, and that was, they were like, someone's been writing about ham in the staff message boards, and we think it's your son. And so we had to like talk, and I had to like promise on the phone to never do it again, and they reconnected us. But that was a dark week.
God, I can only imagine.
The era where AOL would send you the disc in the mail for the free trial.
And not even, they would just get them everywhere. They
would
would
bring them on Wired magazine, all those. Like,
Yeah.
remember they would pack them in, and you'd have to take the cellophane off, and it would drop off. You're like, not another goddamn disc.
Kevin's dad delivered newspapers for a while, and they came with the disc. And there was one time, like they'd keep him in his garage. And there was one time me and my brother came over, and Kevin had thousands of these fucking AOL discs. So of course we opened them all up and started using them as fucking Ninja Stars.
Of course.
But God,
I think there was a point where my mom was like, how do we use these free trials to never pay for it?
Yeah.
And I think we tried to do that. But I distinctly, and maybe I'm mixing a bunch of different experiences, but I remember like when we first installed our modem into this PC that we had, and you heard that like the beep.
Oh, something's wrong. Get out of it. Get away from it.
Yeah. And then just being like it was a weird experience that you're, at the time I wish I was a visionary. I wish, looking back, like, oh man, this is gonna be the fucking thing. Like, how do I take advantage of this? But I was just a kid, and so the first thing I thought of was like, how can I use this for sexual gratification? Of
course. Absolutely.
How is this going to happen?
I mean, in the same way that we looked up, like you just put up random words and shit, and the keywords. One of my friends was Danny, so you always search for yourself, see what the fuck happens. My friend Danny, we went to Danny.com just to see what's up.
See what's there.
Danny.com. Oh man, there was a lot of dirty things on that site, and that changed things for us. I've told the story a million times. I'm gonna tell it one more. Never fucking forget. It was Kazaa. I was downloading the first ever trailer for. No, it was LimeWire at this point. Downloading the first ever trailer for Final Fantasy X-2. I had read about it in EGM. I was so fucking stoked. I loved Final Fantasy X. I was like, they're pop stars. This is fucking weird. I'm so excited. Download it. Took about 4 days to download. I opened that shit. It was not the Final Fantasy X-2 trailer. It was a Final Fantasy X Japanese porn parody thing with all the mosaic stuff. And man, Riku and Tidus, that shit ain't canon. But that changed me. But it was that video that, addicted to porn instantly. I was but I'm looking for Final Fantasy, but I can look for that shit.
They may have just come and they might as well just come and throw cocaine right in your face.
Oh my God.
Like, I'm into it. Like, you're doing this no matter what.
Well, I feel like we're treading the internet episode. I'm going to bring up my idea, but I still want to keep into it. This is the internet episode, what we're missing, all stuff. But my topic was, and / is, what the dumbest shit you use the internet for. And so, like, when you bring this up and everything we're talking about reminds me of me and two other, we must have been like 12, maybe, no, we were like 12, but like some preteen young boys who were, home on an afternoon and like got on AOL and went into the
chat rooms.
Yeah, the dark chat rooms, right?
Dark chat rooms.
And I remember whatever, it was some sex chat room or whatever. We went in there, and it was all these people talking about fucking, and we have no idea what they're talking about and all this different stuff. And we were pretending to be older, of course. We were pretending to be one man.
Flashed all the different places, and it's a bunch of 13-year-olds.
It's the exact fucking same thing, right? And eventually we were talking to this is graphic. This is graphic. I'll have you know.
Oh no!
But like one of the reasons I remember this all so well is that we thought everything that happened and this was so weird and crazy and people talking about dicks and vaginas and shit and like we're having art time and talk is that in our grand infinite wisdom we enjoyed this conversation so much, Nick. We printed it all off. God. So we had like 26 pages.
It was in the dot matrix print.
Exactly. And like we got the paper and then you had to tear the scribbies off the side or whatever.
Terrible.
But I remember when we got in there, it was the first time we'd ever done this. We jumped in there, we're like, what is this room going to be about? They're talking about sex. And some guy announced in all caps, North Carolina Pussy Patrol, spread them. And we were like, what does that mean? I don't know what a pussy is. What? Anyways, blah, blah, and like you're just going on. And like, eventually we started some conversation with somebody else in there claiming to be our girlfriend with her boyfriend or whatever. And so then we went into a private chat room with them because you could do that at the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're having this back and forth conversation with it. And I'll never forget this as long as I live, where she's like, well, I'm sitting naked in my boyfriend's lap right now talking, and we're all like, boo, like freaking out. And she's like, how big is your dick? And we all had that moment of, how big is an adult dick? How big? What's
crazy?
3 feet. 3. I mean, I don't know.
No, what I did
growing up,
we like it was like you're saying they must have also been 13-year-old boys or whatever because there was just like this awkward pause of us doing it, and like my one friend's like, wait, what about, and I'm like, I got it, and I just went, it's so long it requires a meter stick to set that off, right? And we were like, yeah, nailed it. And right as
that's
we
like that,
and so like we're just going back, and then finally like we chat with this person long enough, and then we're just like, ha, joke's on you, we're just a bunch of kids, and he's like, oh fuck you, and I was like, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah,
and this is not the dumbest by any means.
Oh, God, no. But that was just a shared experience because the printing it out, that is one of the dumb things. Why do people prove this stuff? I'm guilty of it for sure. So many of my friends printed so many things they shouldn't have fucking. I still have so many things like in drawers that I should not have. Yeah. But I remember this one kid, I'm not going to say his name, but him and his girlfriend at the time, like whatever the fuck that means in 7th grade, were saying horrible things. At least they didn't know what they were saying, but they were saying things to each other, and they printed it out, and via some sitcom mishap, the teacher ended up finding it.
Wow!
And shit got so bad because it went from like, oh, this is embarrassing to, oh shit, the police are involved. Yeah, so quick, and then he didn't get expelled, but like,
what were they saying?
They got just
ballpark it. Just fucking and shit.
A lot of fucking and shit, but yeah, they were
shits
like 12 years old. Yeah, a lot of that type of stuff.
I'm gonna put it.
And they had
everywhere.
there was like school restraining orders where they like got took out of all this. They had to be put in different classes and all this shit. And I'm like, man, shit got really real.
Yeah, I remember in high school, one of my friends had left the school, and then through a roundabout way, he had a friend at that new school who was dating a girl we still went to school with, and she had like a super explicit chat, and it was the first time any of us had heard or known of like one of our peers. Like, you know what I mean? Like being like
Actually having a real chat.
Yeah, like actually having a sex drive or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that
and
was
sure
hot.
enough, it was just like, he's telling this story, like, holy fuck. And he's like, yeah. And then just through AIM, the entire fucking thing. And you're like,
Yo, dude,
Jesus,
copy
I
and
should not
pasting.
be reading this. This is not where this should be.
Yeah, but it's so fun. Like, honestly, I was an innocent kid. I really didn't like look up a lot of bad shit, but I have not thought about it until now. I had not thought about the printing out thing because I'm just thinking about there was a girl I had a crush on and I got her AOL name and that was like, because I was scared to call a girl on the phone. Forget it. Are you kidding? But on AOL, it was, how was your day? Oh, good. And I remember like some conversation with her where she was like really complimentary to me and I like printed that. I remember like, now I have this and put it in my drawer. Put
it in my dream journal.
It was just like, that I haven't thought about that since that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that was
That
the
has
weirdest
blown
thing
my mind.
about AOL Instant Messenger, and like back to what we miss about it was that weird connectivity it gave you all. And because it was so new and different, like you were having conversations with like people I would never talk to in school, not because I didn't like them or whatever, but like they're a girl in a different group, but for some reason you're the only few people on.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, what's going on? Oh, like, because you don't know what they're doing on their side of the screen or what's going on and all this different stuff.
What's funny, and I keep taking everything and just putting it into modern times. Like that still exists. It's just different. Like with
Now it's a throwaway tweet.
text messages and with threads and stuff. But social media, like the fact that we're all influencers or whatever the fuck you want to call it, where we make content. But all my friends, if you look at their Instagrams, it's the same shit we do. Here's some food I'm eating. Here's what I'm doing today. Like everyone is sharing these weird things, and even people you wouldn't talk to all the time.
And it's the same thing, I guess. I look
You're
at
up
what
on
I
their
know what
lives.
they're doing because I see it happening.
It's
but like a
weird.
great example is today you wanted me to help us connect with help connect one of our influencer friends to somebody at PlayStation, and I was like, all right, cool. It feels weird dropping this email because like the weirdest thing I thought of when I got to IGN was, when I was leaving college, it was very much like, cool, I'm getting a real job. I'm going to work in a newspaper. People in college, Facebook got to Mizzou either end of my sophomore year, beginning of my junior year, somewhere in there. And I was like, that's a kid's thing. I'm too old for it. I'm not going to sign up for it. I'm leaving soon. Maybe it was even senior year. It doesn't matter. But I was using Instant Messenger throughout college as well, and then shut it down, went to work, and never thought about it. And when I got to IGN, it was like, oh no, we all use AIM, and so does the entire industry.
Yeah.
And so like the email I fired off today in 2008 would have been a 2-second AIM conversation of like, hey, there's this guy who wants to work with you guys. Oh, okay, what's his email? Here it is. All right, cool, see you later. But it seems so official now, and I know how in emails we get, right? I feel like buried because you look at your inbox and it's so much, and you're like, oh, fuck this. They even have a little one, whereas AIM was always this easy, like little dun-dun-dun. But I was like, I'm not going to Facebook message this PR person. I'm not going to DM them.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I used AIM until the day they shut it down. Wow. I had it signed
like
in
2 weeks ago?
on my December 15th. Oh
my God.
I have
Never forget.
There's enough artists that we work with that just continue. It's like, I had this little tiny client on my Mac, and it's just, here's this. Okay, great. Yeah, and it was just super easy to use that. I still used it till the end, and every time it was ever brought up in conversation, there's always, remember AIM? Who uses that? And I was always the guy in the back of the room, just like, I'm talking to my artist right now.
That's so funny.
I'll never forget some of the things that stick out in my mind so much.
For dumb as
shit
Okay.
are the times when I just didn't realize the stupidity of how technology can works, right? So we're AIM, right? I mean, you're just not thinking about when you don't know. When you don't have a grasp of technology, you're just going to do stupid shit with it, and it's going to come back to have ramifications. And I think I've told the story before on the podcast, but I'll tell it again. My buddy, when I first started working at IGN, there was only 4 or 5 of us on the team. It was me, Brennan, Eric, Craig, and Fran, and that was pretty much it. And so Fran had tasked Brennan with doing when Fox Interactive Media bought out IGN, or Fox bought out IGN and formed Fox Interactive Media, and so Brennan had to give these higher ups at Fox a walkthrough of the back end content management system, and show them how to. You remember that incredibly convoluted? I don't know if you remember Nib, but we had this
Nib.
network in a box. System that was made, I believe, by the engineers at either GameSpy or IGN at the time, and it was just a nightmare to try to syndicate any content. Remember, this is when all the channels you had to you had to upload a video to Xbox and then syndicate it over. It was cross-platform to PlayStation, and click all these boxes, and then somebody would get lost. You had to go over to engineering and ask them to find it and fucking re-upload it or whatever. It was terrible.
You
but-
Sorensen squeeze to crush some shitty ass trailer nobody cared about.
But I'll never forget, Brennan and I had become fast friends, and we were just joking around like stupid idiots do at work. And we were talking about, we were just saying stupid shit to each other. And for whatever reason, I remember the movie called French Kiss with Meg Ryan and Kevin Kline. And there's a part where she's talking about, she's making fun of French people. And she goes, "Oh, you French people are always the same, like making fun of Americans. Oh, Americans, you people make my asshole twitch," right? And we thought that was funny. So I don't know why I thought it was a funny idea, why that popped into my head as Brennan's giving this. He's on the phone with these network executives, or not network executives, Fox executives, giving them a tour, and they're screen sharing. But I didn't know you could screen share. I didn't really realize that wasn't the thing that I knew that worked, and I just thought, hey, if I aim him something funny right now, he'll laugh and they won't know what he's laughing about. So I typed, "You people make my asshole twitch," and I hit enter.
Oh no!
And I heard, I'm listening to his conversation. Yeah, so now you gotta say, anyway, and then I hear on the phone them go, "Whoa, like, what's going on there?" And Brennan's like, "What the fuck, dude?" And I'm like, meanwhile, Craig's laughing his ass off the entire time.
That is so that shit is so weird. The taking over other people's computers and stuff. Like to this day, I don't understand it. Like, do you guys like if you guys were like, "Hey, take over a computer"?
Oh yeah,
Take
they just
over a
VPN
computer
in.
or just
Yeah.
like screen
VPN
share
or whatever the fuck it is.
Screen
Well,
share.
you're
is easy.
talking, screen share is just.
So here's the thing. Kevin is Mr. fucking hacker man. Like I don't know your hacking skills.
Well,
you better
I mean,
watch
Go to
out.
the pre-show, patreon.com/kindoffunny.
I'm controlling your PC
But
right now.
One of my favorite moments of things that
Alexa,
have ever happened to me
order
in my
tampons.
life was, and this was like a fucking movie moment. Me and Gio were here. It was during a break maybe last year. We had 2 weeks off, and I walk in here, and we had to pick something up, and I was standing there where my old desk was, and like I look over, like I see movement in Kevin's closet. We were the only people there, and I look over at Kevin's computer, and I see the mouse start to move, and I'm like, Gia, I think Kevin's trying to talk to me. She's like, "You're fucking crazy," and I was like, "No, Kevin's at home. He saw the security thing go on, so he knows someone's in here, and he's trying to communicate to me via his computer." And she's like, "You're fucking like, no, there's no way." And I saw him go down to the start and to try to turn on the webcam, and I'm like, he fucking turns it on, and I'm like, look, and I start waving at him, and he texts me, "I see you," and I'm like, "What the fuck?"
That's creepy, Kevin. That's creepy.
No, it's not. Someone came in at a very odd hour.
It was awesome.
It was super weird, and every once in a while, I like to see what's happening.
That's good. Smart. Keep
Plus,
it
he didn't know
keep
where
on
the other
going.
webcams are.
What's that?
Nothing. Don't worry about it. No
Okay.
worries.
All right. Cool.
Another one for me. This is the one I think of when I think of the dumbest shit I've done on the onlines, the internet. Right. As a kid, again, what you're talking about, it was a smaller community, Rocco.
Yeah.
We didn't know what we're doing, and I was so excited. I always talk about what for now that we fill this best friend role, right, where we get to talk to the community and engage and meet, and there's all these different ways. But I do it and feel that where it comes from in my heart, right, is the fact that in my group of friends, I was the video game and comic guy.
Yeah.
My other friends might like it, but they didn't love it.
Totally.
They weren't reading
That was me
EGM.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They weren't all over GamePro or Wizard Magazine. or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
And so when the internet came, I saw it as such an easy way to connect with all those people. And that led to so many weird things where I joined this group that was, it would be role playing, I guess, but it's not live action because we weren't in person. It was just chat room
role-playing.
Chat room role playing where we each had, I was Superboy, of course. Other people were other superheroes, and we'd go in there and have like fucking fights and say what you're doing, and then like inevitably argue about if you dodged that fireball or how that would have worked or whatever. Well, that's all well and good. Then, and I used to like go hang out with my real friends and then be like, "Oh fuck, I gotta bike home. Well, what's going on? You got a curfew?" No, I'm meeting up with these people to fucking go into a chat room and role play as superheroes. All right, and like all my friends, for their credit, were like, "All right,
your
whatever."
friends know you. If they're
You're a weirdo,
your
sure.
friends at that point, yeah, we know.
But here's the one. This is my dumbest, one of my dumbest things on the internet. In retrospect, I found online a website that was a Green Lantern Corps, where you went there and you registered as a Green Lantern, your own Green Lantern. You had they assigned you a sector to protect and all this shit. And then very similarly, you'd meet up in chat rooms and fucking role play being a Green Lantern and talk about all this shit and stuff. Very cool idea, Tim. Very cool idea. All right.
Sure.
I forget at what point I I decided to spice it up and decided I made a different account and came in and announced that I was Parallax, right? I was like Hal Jordan. I've gone crazy. I'm gonna kill all the Green Lanterns here. I'm gonna bring this thing to its knees. Blah 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 blah. All this different shit. And then like logged out. And then I came back after a while, and that went on a while, obviously. Came back as myself or whatever. I'm like, oh, everybody's freaking out. What's going on? Blah, blah. And like, oh, this is happening. And then one guy in the chat room that I don't know anything about, but just says, yeah, when he was in here, I went into his computer's back end. And let's just say, in this another line I'll never forget, let's just say, in 24 hours, he's going to need a drum to send messages. And I like burst into tears because it's my parents' computer.
No.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, did he really do something to my fucking thing?
Yeah.
And like, it was full blown panic of me then like leaving, and it's like 2 a.m. Leave that fucking chat room. I'm going into root files, and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. What am I even looking for? I'm running Norton
Your Windows
antiviruses.
95's not going to handle this.
I know, right?
No.
For some reason, I get it in my head that it would be helpful if I kind of take the computer apart. So like on our compact. On our compact, whatever, Presario, I rip off the front casing. I don't know what I'm looking for.
Well, now they can't get you. The front of the case
files
is gone.
are in the computer.
No one wants that.
It's so simple.
And I'm like,
There's no front to this beige box. Now what?
I'm looking. I can't find anything. I try to put it back together. I can't put it back together really well. It's like now 3:34 in the morning, right? And it's off. So I turn it back on, but because the thing had been put on wrong, immediately goes like, hey! He's like, crying again, back to crying. I'm like, it's happening. The prophecy is true.
How old were you when this was happening?
I don't know. I wasn't in high school for sure.
Okay.
I mean, junior high. You know what I mean? Like, it's like probably it would have been probably our third PC, if that makes sense. Or something like that.
Even going along that, like you guys talk about the things that, like just memories of those, like the first time you got a virus, and you like you had to explain to your parents, and they're like, "What happened?" You're like, I don't know. I was just searching normal, non-adult websites, and I don't know why there are a bunch of dicks on the screen right now, Mom. I don't know why.
You looking for cute singles in your area?
Yeah, it's like, hey, they would just pop up, and you just start clicking them, and the more you click. This is the worst, man.
See, I was never responsible for any virus on the family computer because I was like smart about it. I was like
painting yourself as an angel.
I really was like an innocent kid. I kept to my interests. I was looking up Power Rangers or Ren and Stimpy or whatever. But I knew like don't open stuff. Okay, don't open attachments. Like I was knowledgeable about all that. It was my parents that were like, I heard you could get Photoshop for free. Hey, look, I just opened this. Here, computer's broken. Rocco, fix it.
I want an iPod.
I don't know.
I don't know what an iPod is.
Yeah.
We won one.
Yeah.
She still
there was that thing once,
Yeah.
where my mom came out and she was like super fired up, and she's like, "Well, I just got an email about what," and it wasn't porn, but it was like some clearly spammy, junky, something you've been compromised. And I'm like, she's like, "You must have done it." I'm like, Mom, if that was true, it would have been sent to me. It wouldn't be sent to you. It would be, you know what I mean? Like, you've done something. You've clicked on something.
Oh man, people. I mean, what's funny is we talk about that like it's nostalgia, but that shit still happens.
Oh, dude.
We were in an Uber car the other day. We were riding over to Funhouse to hang out with them after
keep
the
in
show.
mind, 50-minute Uber ride. Like this was not a quick.
This is not.
It's
LA,
LA,
not
of course. We get in from moment 1 to moment 50. This woman talks to us.
This woman talks to
Moment
us
1 to
about a
moment 50.
phone call she just received, saying that she owed money to the IRS and that they were going to come and arrest her. And she was
we
like
get those calls all the time.
freaking out. Now, granted, she was maybe like, she was a college student or working at the college. Something. She was very young, 20, 21. And so she was freaking out. And I was like, no, I think that's a pretty known scam. Like, don't worry about it. And she's like, I know, but I'm just like, I can't afford to like have these people like, I don't know where it's going to go. Like, do you think they hacked into my email? I'm like, I don't think they hacked your email through your phone for a phone call. And then I stupidly, I was like trying to calm it down. I was like, you can just call your accountant and he'll tell you whether or not you owe money to the IRS. Like, oh no, I mean, whoever prepares your taxes, like you can just, they'll figure it out for you. Like they'll contact the IRS. Yeah. And I'm like, I know for a fact that the IRS doesn't call you. Like they're not in the habit of doing that.
Ask you your name.
And she was like, well, they wanted my social security number, but I didn't give them that. Do you think they could get it? And I'm like, not if you didn't say, if the words didn't come out of your mouth. I don't think they can read your mind. But she was so fucking persistent about it. It ended up being a 50-minute conversation. Me and Tim and Andy just shut down in the back.
And you just like, kept talking. I'm like, Nick, what are you doing?
I didn't know. I was like, I'm pretty sure if you just hung up on them, they didn't get any of your personal information. She's like, well, how can you tell? I'm like, I don't know. And she kind of got abrasive with me. And I'm like, I didn't call you.
Yeah.
I'm not the one that did
Don't
this.
get mad at me. Yeah.
We got off topic, started talking about a bunch of other stuff. We had our own conversation, not including her. And then way later, like 10 minutes later, she's like, Yeah, but seriously, like, is there any way? And it's like, whoa, it's okay.
And I get it. I
You've
understand.
been there, yeah.
We've
You
been
just want to
there.
be like told everything's gonna be all right
it's
by
gonna be
someone who
fine.
acts like they know what's going on.
And if you ever see those, calls through, they just want gift cards. It always turns into, well, you can pay off this taxes you owe and everything will be fine. Just go to a store and put $600 on a gift card and just read us the number.
Yeah.
That's how they always go.
Really?
Yeah. And I wish it was that easy, you know?
Yeah.
I got a
$600
huge
bucks.
GameStop gift card. Yeah, here it is.
Let me give me all my
I'm out.
credit. I'll resend the Game Informers to you.
Boom.
Yeah.
No more taxes.
Yeah,
Power up.
Done.
Power to the players. Man, the dumbest thing, I mean, I can't say it's the dumbest thing. The amount of dumb things I've done on the internet.
Sure,
Fucking countless. A very dumb thing I did, and is especially dumb in retrospect. Most people would not be shocked to know it involved me and my good friend Alfredo Diaz.
Of course.
When we were in high school, it must have been MySpace popping the fuck off. Pretty popular on MySpace. It was kind of our thing.
there you
You're
go.
a thing.
And we thought it would be funny. There was one time we're at my house, literally on MySpace, looking at people's top 8s and whatnot, right?
Sure.
Click on one, and like there was some girl, and like in the same time that you'd look at Instagram now, you're like, what's this girl thinking? Like, why did she take this picture? Like, this is what this must have took 10 hours to fucking light and pose. I was like, how funny would it be if we recreated every single photo this girl has in her profile picture?
That is pretty funny.
And like just shot for shot. It was her and her
solid skit.
boyfriend, right? Like whatever. So me and Alfredo went through and spent an hour really shittily recreating all these pictures, and then we both changed all of our profile pictures to be it and just didn't say anything, and then people eventually saw and noticed. It was funny. Then we did it again to someone else, and it was funny. Then we did it again to someone else, and it was funny. Then it got to one girl, and like she got so freaked the fuck out.
Yeah,
that she was like, holy shit, this is fucking creepy and whatever. And we're like, yo, we just be like, yo, no, it's not like that. Like, it's just funny. And she got really scared, and it got like kind of serious. I was like, fuck, and like we had to apologize and shit.
Yeah.
But it was like, man, we're just trying to make people laugh.
That's just a joke. But but again, that goes back to people not understanding.
Exactly.
And that's the thing is too, we're still in that period of people really trying to figure out what the internet is. Like it's always in flux. We're in that period where people are we're trying to figure out how to connect with people the right way without there being like friction. And there's still just, obviously, if you go on Twitter any given day, there's a ton of friction still. But that's just part of the learning curve, you know?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it was one of those things where she's like she wrote this whole
Like, you guys didn't do anything wrong.
assessment. She's
There's
like,
nothing
these
wrong
guys
with
are
that.
stalking me and whatever. I'm like, whoa.
You know,
It
to be
went
fair,
from-
you were stalking 3 other people too. You're not the only one.
It went from being funny to like being like, we were like, oh shit, and so we stopped doing that.
Yeah,
stuff.
of course.
But it was really funny.
It's hilarious. It's like that. It's like that. The dad and son who's taking the same picture every year,
Oh yeah.
which I've never actually
That
clicked
sounds
on
lame.
because it's like a.
I don't know what I'm just calling it like it is.
That's why we're like, you're a straight shooter.
Sound like him.
No, I think
Never invite him back.
We did the same thing too, where it was like, I remember like a sleepover, and then everybody gets on the computer, and we made an AIM sub account, and then you start acting like you're a girl, and you try to catfish some guy, and give him a bad phone number.
The sweet little baby angel that was the 1122, but instead of the ones, it was like capital L's, or lowercase L's. So like you trick them because they see it and they're like, oh, or the like a capital I and a lowercase L look exactly the same.
Sure. Oh yeah. Now
So
you're
it's
talking
like,
about.
you
I'm
think
sorry.
that like
you're
these
talking to the
people
right
are talking to
person.
him?
Yeah. No, you ain't talking
God,
to
we
the
were
right
no
person.
fucked
good.
up. Man, I would have got you so bad, Nick. I wish that we were friends.
Here's the deal.
I would have fucked
You
your
wouldn't
life
have
up.
because I was very, very fucking weird on AIM. Like I don't know. I don't remember.
You're so normal in real life.
No. But I was
You're-
like,
you're an AIM
I
freak.
for whatever reason
That's
adopted
that's
this
kink.
really fucking weird persona. I had like 5 or 6 different handles, and they were all some iteration of big dick something. Like one of them was foot long dong, and the other one I remember was hung like a bear. And I don't know why I had those. And I would just go and fuck with people and then get out.
Yeah.
Just get out. And I don't know why I thought that was so fun, but it was like empowering. You just jump in and people were like, hung like a bear for real. I was like, wouldn't you like to know? Close down, AIM. Fuck you. Like, you don't know. It was weird.
down, AIM, burn the computer.
I don't know, man. I just had
What was one
monitor.
name that you had, an AIM name that you used that like fucking made me laugh so hard?
I had some weird ass
and it
ones.
was dick related.
Yeah, they were all dick related. They were all some iteration of big dick something or other.
Oh, Nick.
Yeah, it was.
I remember when AOL, there was one night when they announced silently, but they did announce, oh, we're going to allow longer screen names starting at midnight. And I remember being on my computer at midnight, and I reserved a ton of names on AOL. So I reserved Super Saiyan Goku, like Kentucky Fried Chicken, just like brand names and stuff.
Yeah.
And I there were a couple times I got offers like, I want Super Saiyan Goku. Like I want that. It's no letters, number, or well, obviously there's letters, but you know, no, you know what I mean?
But it wasn't
no
Super Saiyan
weird-
Goku
yeah.
010145.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I remember there were
It
dudes
was
like,
legit.
I'll PayPal you $50, give me Super Saiyan Goku. And I think I got a couple of those. So
Nice. There you
$50 back then. When oh man, that was like $1 million.
Yeah, you could live like a king. You
I
could live
did.
like
I bought all kinds of Parappa stuff.
Nick,
Yes.
it's time for your topic on the internet. But first, I need to tell you about our sponsor, Movement. Oh, Tim's too good for the Movement ad read?
Oh, wow. He's moving out.
He's getting a
gone.
bracelet.
Yeah, exactly.
How apropos.
Valentine's Day is just around the corner, and it can be hard to find the perfect gift. But Movement is here to make it easy. We've been using a lot of Movement stuff for a long time.
Yeah.
And what I like about Movement and other sponsors like this, right? The watches, the sunglasses,
Yeah.
is that it is a great, easy way, right? Right now, you're out there. Valentine's Day is coming up. You need to do something for someone.
You've probably forgotten about it.
Here you
And
go.
This is your reminder.
I'm going to read you the
Yeah.
ad, then you
Guess
just
what?
click on the link and you go, and it's over. You're done. What are you going to guess?
No, it's Valentine's Day. You thought it wasn't going to happen this year? Guess what? It's coming.
Now, you might say watches or sunglasses for Valentine's Day. That doesn't sound very romantic. Well, let me tell you about this. You know about Movement from their watches. Well, they're back at it and have added fashion-forward bracelets to their collection to fall in love with. They are designs like classic cuffs and trendy barbed wire with finishes like gold, rose gold, matte black, you name it. And they started just $40. They didn't just stop there. For Valentine's Day, Movement has beautiful custom Valentine's Day gift boxes featuring a watch and bracelet. This will make Valentine's Day super easy. You want it to be super easy, right?
I want everything to be easy. Everything.
Yep.
Movement is now offering custom Valentine's Day boxes featuring a watch and a bracelet. And just like their watches, these beautiful bracelets come in a variety of finishes and styles. Movement's bracelets are the perfect complement to a Movement watch, or beautiful to stack and wear on their own. Get 15% off today with free shipping and free returns by going to movement.com/Greggy. That's MVMT.com/Greggy. Join the Movement. Are you going to join the Movement?
I'm already part of the
Always.
movement, son.
We've been moving for a long time. Over here.
Always.
I never stop like a shark. I just keep going.
Yeah. I'm
Because you
like,
die if you like Shark
You
Phineas.
stop, you die.
Yeah.
You stop,
I'm
you
like
die.
the San Diego Usain Bolt.
Because you move so much?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say you don't have a lot in common.
No, I do. Yeah. We've both been tripped by segways.
That's fair. That's fair.
Man, he just
Or
fucking
whatever that
nailed
was.
you.
You just
What was that?
fucking
It was
stuck
like
it
a-
to me, sir. I thought
away.
you went to go
Hoverboard.
get one of the bracelets and you came back with a LaCroix. I thought you were going to show people the bracelet and you came back with another LaCroix.
Yeah, God forbid they send the bracelet. They send the watches. They send the sunglasses.
They probably do. And Tim and Gia steal them.
That
like
is
you
true. That does
fucking
happen
steal
a
Blue
lot.
Apron and they steal all the other stuff.
And a lot of stuff still, remember, goes to our old house. So my old
Good job,
landlord.
Johnson.
old landlord rolling in things. Nick, what's your topic?
Going along the internet theme, I just wanted to reminisce a little bit about some of your guys' favorite projects throughout the years that you've done on the internet. As you know, I've done most of my live action and production work, specifically with groups like IGN, with us. So I just wanted to open up to you guys. What is like your favorite thing you've ever been a part of in the last, since the dawn of the internet?
Sure.
Can I interject?
Yeah, of
And it
course.
has nothing to do with your topic. I
Sure.
just got a notification that my pogs have been delivered.
Great.
And you can verify that visually yourself. That the
No
pogs.
one- Slammer game.
No one
Okay.
doubted you.
Yeah, what kind of pogs did you get?
We're
Here?
giving them out. The people who
Kevin, get him. Kevin.
the people who buy
we
our
have pogs?
merchandise, we just give them pogs.
Do they need to be anything in particular pogs?
No, we do, no. I
Would
mean,
they be Mortal Kombat?
What if I had a few
bots?
hundred
Oh.
Mortal Kombat pogs?
are you being serious?
Yeah, there you go. There you
Get
go.
over here.
Wait, why do we have so many pogs and why aren't we giving those away to our audience?
Because
Yeah,
Dan Reichert
hey.
brought a bunch of giant bomb garbage here one day.
Oh,
like that
this
giant
is-
gummy.
oh.
If you want a giant, there's a 5-pound gummy bear over there too. If you want that.
What a genius thing, pogs.
Oh, and we got the metallic
Well, hold
variant.
on.
We got the
Nick,
metallic variant.
Please expand.
These
This
must cost nothing to make, and they sold
true.
these things to kids.
Yeah.
It's similar to that new Nintendo thing where they were like, we ordered a bunch of pizzas, the boxes are still here, what do we do with them? Someone threw a controller into the box and was like, genius. Let's market
Now,
it.
speaking of genius ideas, Nick, there's
Market
a lot
it.
of times that you name Kind of Funny morning shows things, and I look at you and I shake my head. I'm like, Nick, why would you headline a video this?
Mm-hmm.
That's the worst name of all time. I was looking back at some analytics, Greg,
Yeah, lay it on me.
and there was an
God.
episode of Kind of Funny Games Daily about the Nintendo Labo.
Sure.
And you actually titled that video Nintendo Labo Gabbo.
Oh no!
We were gabbing about Labo.
Oh,
Gabbo
God.
Labo. It rolled off. What were the numbers though?
It was pretty good.
I was going to say, nobody cared about the last word, Nintendo Labo. I appreciated that Nick has been shamed by us for bad headlines and bad thumbnails for so long that today, rather than share whatever he titled it or made a thumbnail for, he just hit it and sent it straight to Kevin.
Oh, did I?
Because he didn't want any of us to fucking...
You don't want the shame.
Oh, I didn't mean to.
Because last time when Jeff Ramsey was on the show, you buried it. You didn't even fucking mention it or show
I forgot to
him.
put his name in it, but I put Rocco's name in the title today.
Did you say Rocco Blocco?
Yeah.
Gabbo.
Put a socko in my mouth, though.
Good one.
No, I did not do that. I did not do any of that.
All right.
So anyway, Pogs.
Okay, get
Dope.
to your topic, please.
Oh, just what
Yeah.
are some of your favorite topics? I said my topic already, and then you interrupted me to talk about Pogs.
Well, that was breaking
but you
news.
But
He
then
can't
we got
control the news.
trick
No,
or
I just want
treaters
everyone to
coming
know that
in,
as
and
far
we
as
got
your revisionist history is concerned.
Jesus.
I've already
Okay.
fucking said what I have to say.
Okay, well, now I'm here. I think my favorite thing that I've ever been a part of was probably be just because of the meaning in my life or whatever. This sounds a lot heavier than it's going to be, but
Or whatever.
or whatever. No, but getting to do the Nintendo like E3 video presentation that they did. We did it. We did it 1 year, and then again the next year they just asked us to direct it. Like we weren't even in it. It was.
Was it the Adult Swim or Robot Chicken looking one?
No. We did prior to that. There was the two that we did was when Reggie was a robot, Visa Mech, because I'm in that, so that makes sense that we did that. But then the second one we did, they just they just wanted us to direct it. Was the where Reggie has to train for the tournament.
Oh, for Smash Brothers.
Yeah, so that was one they wanted to do something different, but they still liked working with us, and that was like really flattering. Like it wasn't just we want a Mega64 video. It was like, hey, we trust you. Would you make this? And it was like
For
that was
Nintendo's
like
E3.
yeah, that was like incredibly like gratifying. You know what I mean? Like that
how
was
does
really
that relationship start? Because I obviously I've known about Mega64 forever, and I would always think like how funny it is, and like I love the ones where you're just running around fucking with people and you're Tetris pieces, or you're rolling through asking people, being weird at flea markets or whatever, scaring everybody. But like, how does that translate over then to, hey, now we want you to come make a Nintendo thing? We saw you almost get arrested as the Journey guys. How do you, how do you want to come do this with Reggie?
Well, we do a few, there's a lot of different types of videos that we do, and that's obviously one genre of video, I guess. But we've been really lucky and to tie it back to Nintendo, way back in 11 years ago, I think it was, somehow we convinced them to put Shigeru Miyamoto in one of our skits. Like he had a spare 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was like, we were going to be at the same event, and it was like, the
GDC video.
Yeah. And it was like, once we did that, it kind of opened the doors. Like any developer we talked to, it's like, do you think, would Kojima want to be in a video? And they would see the one with Miyamoto and go, oh, like this. Okay, yeah, sure. And so I think we built up a good rapport with a lot of developers that it just became like, oh, they can also do funny videos with maybe special guests without a lot of time, because even we did our video with Reggie, and every time we said cut, they were bringing him papers to sign. Okay, sign off on this. Okay, very busy guy, but we were able to make it work within that. I think they know we work pretty quick and are easy to deal with.
That's awesome
for the most part. So, yeah, it gave us a lot of opportunities, but especially getting to be in Nintendo's like headquarters, and they were telling us when we were there, like no one's ever filmed in here, or like we don't allow people to bring cameras in this room, but we'll it was just like, it felt like being in some I don't know, it was like, I don't know, it was like a dream come true.
At any point, did you think that maybe
cool.
they had you mistaken for another group?
Probably.
Yeah. Because I can't, knowing what little I know about how conservative Nintendo is as a company, I can't imagine they watched all your videos and were like, these guys are the ones for us. Let's give them the keys to the kingdom.
But during the Wii U era, they're like, oh man, you know what?
Anything.
But I really think it was, again, just the videos we've done with special guests. Were so like,
well, because you also did Konami's press conference, like either the last one they did or the second to last one with the transfarring
ring, and that was directly from Kojima. Like we did it, we got him to do a cameo in a video years before, and then Kojima Productions contacted us and said, we have this concept to carry a save between systems, and it's called transfarring. okay. And then they explained every step. You're transferring, transfer is in there far. You're going to go far. Ring, it's a ring of connectivity. It was like, this is very Kojima. But it was so flattering. And, they were sending me videos from their office every day, just like, hey, here's how it's working so far. I've got Peace Walker here, and now it's working on there. It was really like special. It was really neat. And they were very like, kind of let us have a blank slate on that to do whatever. And I have to give credit to Nintendo too. The one that we did with Reggie as the robot that I was piloting, that was the first concept we pitched, and they were really cool. I mean, they gave us all the freedom that we wanted. Obviously there's a couple things that are like, okay, marketing wise, I think we need to say this and not that. But you expect that, that's not. But they were really cool about everything, and that was the first idea we had. They emailed us before I got on a plane. I think I was leaving PAX that year, and it was like, oh my gosh, they want us to do a presentation. What would we do? And I was like falling asleep on the plane, and I had this dream about piloting Reggie like an Evangelion. Like, I don't know why. Like, I was in the Iron Man suit, and you could see the HUD on me, and it was like, why did what does that say? Psychologically, what does that mean? I don't know. And I told the other guys that I was like, what if I try to get all the E3 secrets by disguising myself as him, and I'm like in like a robot? Okay, yeah, and that was the first thing they went for it.
That's
somehow.
Genius.
Love it.
It's funny though, because I've seen the videos, right? But this is really the first like period of time that you and I have spent actual time together, and I'm actually kind of taken aback by
we're not just yelling at each other on a stage.
Yeah, we're not.
Okay.
Everyone's on, and
Yeah.
we're joking and throwing beers
Yeah.
around, whatever, and making fun of whatever fucking Big Craig's a part of now.
One of the attacks.
What the fuck are you doing? But I'm actually kind of taken aback by like the reverence you have for the gaming industry. Like my outside perspective is like, hey, it's just really fun to make fun of.
Sure.
But like you're like, yeah, I can tell you're very genuine about like
because
your love for these things. It's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
totally. Because that's something that when I was a kid, I didn't even honestly. I grew up. I didn't even have really a connection. I mean, I watched movies, but I didn't have a connection to them as much as I think it came from my parents were really into video games. I was the only kid I knew that my mom played through every Final Fantasy and like all that.
That's fucking awesome.
And I would sit and watch them like movies. It would be like, wait, Cecil, wait. Golbez is his brother? Like, oh my god, that was my Star Wars kind of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was
also Star Wars.
I don't know. I was just it came at a good time. Yeah, it was actually Star Wars.
There was a Star Wars.
You're
too
right.
when
You're
we were
right.
kids. I just wanted you to know that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But
I've seen them.
yeah, so
good
that
ones.
was just I don't know. That was always very poignant to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I've never been afraid to make fun of stuff. That doesn't mean I hate it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And there's always a distinction.
It's hard to make that though because you guys have a very edgy style, and
Yeah.
I think it's difficult for. I mean, I know you, but it's difficult for me to look at those and then be like, and then see that like, how does Nintendo then go? Let's work with these guys. Like it's crazy.
There is such a deep understanding where it's like it's never the surface level joke with the game videos.
Sure.
Like even the Final Fantasy 13 when you made fun of the reveal. Of
Oh,
it,
yeah.
like of you walking through the history of Final Fantasy
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
It's like you need a deep understanding of Final Fantasy for that to hit and for that to make sense.
Sure.
And also even things like I remember when I first watched all the more the prank videos or whatever the fuck they're called.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, like
Not really.
they're not
I'm
pranks.
scared of the word pranks
Yeah,
because it's
not-
just a prank. It's not like
that.
tricking people into a thing. It's
But
just
the more like acting like a goofball in public.
Yeah,
videos.
just being weird.
And it's like, watching the Paperboy one and watching Luigi's Mansion, things I'm
Yeah.
familiar with. But I didn't play
Paperboy,
Shenmue, but I'm like, I like these guys. It's funny. So I watched it and it's like watching it like, oh, these guys love these games. Like there's actually a
yeah.
And then I saw the Elite Beat Agents one. I'm like, oh, well, this is the greatest thing of all fucking time. And it's things like that
Thanks.
where I can see Nintendo looking at that and being like, man, like, these guys, they do
fans.
care. They're
Yeah.
fans. They're not making fun of us. They're making fun
Yeah.
with us because they love the thing.
And it's always better. Some videos that we do, it's like, okay, I haven't really played this, but it just looks so goofy. Let's do a video
Yeah.
about it. But the best one, we ought to learn because I think the best ones that we've worked on are the ones where we really are passionate about because there's some that are kind of, okay. But we did one for the Phantom Pain where Derek was Snake and we were all so glued to that game that it just oozes through that video. Every little detail, Derek picks something up and that little sound effect is there. Yeah, all the little stings and he's walking next to some guy and he looks like Code Talker. Film him, It was just every little detail and lens flare and Hideo's name comes up 100 times. It oozes through when you're really a fan of it. So we always try to do something that we care about. Even if we make fun of it, it's like it's not out of hate.
Yeah. Nah, man, and even we were just watching the Game Awards videos, the Todd and Aaron's Game Awards that you do every year. And like even those, it's like they're so crass and so fucked up. But it's like that's commentary. Like there's the stuff in there where it's like you're aware of the jokes you're making, which makes it super funny. And it's such good commentary on the games industry.
Well, and also that series, this thing we do every year, it's called Todd and Aaron's Game Awards, and we do like the best of the year. And these are we intentionally make them the worst people on earth. And how that started, and it's ironic that we're here, or coincidental, whatever, is that started on IGN. That was something they asked. I mean, it wasn't.
Yes.
Well, they basically said like, hey, just so you know, if you want to do, because we were doing videos for them at that point, it was like, well, hey,
you guys are doing videos for
something would be
behind the paywall. What was it?
Insider. And they said something that would be cool is, a lot of times when we show Game of the Year and stuff like that, there's always bros in the comments saying it should be Call of Duty, and so it's
you
kind
guys
of
kept giving it to Madden. That was always my favorite.
Yeah, so we were just like, who are these bros? And so we tried to make ourselves the worst people on earth, and it's almost like those guys almost don't exist anymore. You wouldn't really see that. Like now it's gone around to where people hate on Call of Duty in the comments, no matter what they do. But at that time, it was, where's COD? Where is it? And so we were trying to be those guys, and it's just evolved. We just take the form of whatever terrible people exist.
I love it.
So
fucking good.
Yeah, so it's just great to talk about that here with you guys. From a
and then similar to that style, but a bit more just nuanced, was probably my favorite video you guys have done is the one that's making fun of the IGNs and game journalism and all that stuff, where it was very Donnie Darko.
Was it Modern Game Journalism, the movie?
Yes, that's what it was.
Okay.
YouTube, Modern Game Journalism, the fucking movie. It's amazing.
There's certain videos
funny.
Thank you very much. There's certain videos that we do that will tap into a certain subject that keeps repeating through history, and those are I love those videos because every time a new story happens, they come around again. And Modern Game Journalism was right when Uncharted 3 was about to come out, and someone gave it an 8.5. And it was like, what the fuck did they just do? It was just everywhere you went was, I can't believe. It's like, have you played it? No, but I can't. How could it not be a 10? How could it not? That whole thing. I'm sure you guys have no experience with that.
I gave it 10. I love it.
No, but yeah. So we did a video about just the outrage around that, and every time there's outrage about a review now, that video gets posted again.
It's so fucking funny.
So thank you, everybody who keeps passing those things
around.
The
same history lesson that never gets learned from.
Yeah, we have a video about Sonic, the Sonic cycle.
The Sonic cycle.
And that gets posted all the time.
Yeah.
It's great. It's
Finally
great.
broken.
I love it.
Mania.
Tim, what are you proud of?
God, it's so fucking cliche at this point, but specifically Kind of Funny Live 2 and 3. I just looked Kind of Funny Live 2 hundreds of views away from hitting 100K.
Awesome.
So go watch it 100
Make
times.
my dreams happen.
I see a lot of people
Mark
every so
Freeman.
often on the Reddit or somewhere else go, man, I'd love to watch Nick's comedy set. To which I say, it's
Funny Live
inside.
3.
Kind of Funny Live 3.
And Kind of Funny Live 3, I'm even more proud of than 2, specifically the video. Like the final edit is like, God, that is my magnum opus. I love that. But really, besides those, the project I'm most proud of is my best friend Curran's proposal, where proposals have always kind of been my thing. Like even back in high school, I would always like make videos of my friend, promposals of like people asking people to prom in dumbass ways. And so then to continue that through for his actual proposal, it was a very elaborate plan, and it went off without a hitch. And I think the video is really good, and it's in Disneyland. It's like pretty much everything that makes me tick is part of that video. And I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. And like I don't think that I'll ever be able to do a single project that comes out as perfectly as that did for what we were trying to do. So check it out. It's on the channel, youtube.com/kindoffunny.
You know what doesn't get enough credit? Something we've done that I'm proud of. And it literally doesn't get enough credit, doesn't get brought up all that often. But I watched it again recently. I forget why. Jen had never seen it, obviously, so I showed it to her. And it makes sense right now. I'll promote it this week or have Joey do it. But the Super Bowl commercial we did.
Oh, the one for
we had Veronica
Harley,
Belmont.
Harley, I watched that the
Cologne.
other day again. That was fun.
Yeah, it was like
That
just
was
such a
good
cool
one.
edit. It looks so good because obviously Lair came in.
Yeah,
and
Lair
helped
came
us
in.
film.
We shot with the red.
Yeah.
Those were that was always anytime I get an opportunity to do something like that, it's always fun to do with you guys because it's like it's kind of grueling because you have to actually do a real production where it's like multiple takes, multiple shots, stuff like that. But when they come together, it's cool to get that opportunity. I think back to like the early days, like during the April Fool's projects that we did. And I think the one that sticks out was when we did Halo Bollywood. And it's not that I'm most proud of that because it was a weird idea that Per Schneider had, and he was like, Like we were just sitting around a room, and I was trying to get people to give ideas because obviously I had zero context. Like back in 2006 or 7, whenever we did that, was it 8?
I think it was 2008.
Yeah, probably 8. Whenever we did that, because we had done the Legend of Zelda thing, and Fran was like, "Hey, we should do another one of these." And I was like, "Well, I'd love to take the opportunity to like spearhead this because I want to get more of that level of production experience." And I thought that it'd be cool to get it through IGN. And we were trying to get ideas together, and obviously me being the least gamer, I was like, I don't have any ideas. I just my experience was get everyone in a room together, start talking, and some magic will happen. And then Pear poked his head and he's like, "Yeah, dude, you guys should do Halo Bollywood." Okay, bye. And then just
Such a
have you met Pear?
bad Pear.
That was a perfect Pear. Pear, when he doesn't want to talk to his wife, calls me and has me call his wife as him. I just want you guys to know that. Yeah, I'll come home soon. Yeah, that's great, guys. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So long story short, that was interesting because it was a lot of lessons learned on that, right? It was the first time really at IGN or in life I had bitten off way more than I could chew. It involved hiring a dance troupe, writing original music, having some level of knowledge in another language, having some knowledge of
insensitive,
and trying to be not insensitive. And it was. I remember distinctly we were sitting there after we'd shot everything, and this was pretty expensive for the time. Like we had put some money toward this, rented out a big studio and like lights and all that stuff. And I remember we were sitting in the edit and it was not working at all. And like that feeling of going like, oh my God, I just like, they're never going to give me this opportunity again to like do this. Cause I've botched this so badly that no one is going to like ever let me do this again. And then we broke for the day, came back. I think this was like a Saturday. We came back on Sunday and I had a few other sound clips that we had used that we were like switching in and out. And there was one in particular, like when he takes his hat off. That we used.
I need a weapon.
Yeah, and it was I need a weapon, and it was one of the singers had said it before. He's like, you gotta just because we had like I need a weapon, and it just wasn't funny. It wasn't embracing the spirit of what like Bollywood was, like that silly whimsical way of delivering things and then breaking into a dance. It didn't make any sense. And the dancer at the time, or the singer at the time, was like had seen it and was like, you guys should really like. He's like, let me do a few for you, and gave us a few takes, and we subbed that in, and then it just changed the whole mood of the whole thing to be a lot more like fun and festive and silly and stupid, and set up the joke of like them breaking into dancing so much more, and it just worked.
Yeah,
at least worked a lot better than it was before, where the joke was just like there was no joke before. That was the joke. It was the pun of like, hey, it's a big kind of like. This is totally a joke. And a prank.
What's so funny about that video is I was on the other side, just still a fan of all these things. And IGN's Zelda April Fool's video was such an inspiration to me. Like that was like, this is possible in internet video. Like this is this looks like a real movie trailer. Oh my God. And then the next year for it to be followed up with this Halo thing, I remember seeing it pop up and I'm like, here we go. Like it's gonna be a Halo trailer, and it was titled Halo movie trailer.
Well, we also got Bungie at the time to
promote it out,
get in on the joke. Yeah,
and they pushed it out there.
They put out the
so it was like I remember it was me and Alfredo sitting there. We were so stoked to watch this thing because we thought it was gonna be fucking cool. And then it started. I'm like, oh, this doesn't look good. And then it kept going. I'm like, wow, this is really not. What the fuck are they doing? And then the joke hits. And I remember being so pissed. I was one of those pissed, angry commenters where I'm like, fuck this. Like, this is not what they promised me. Then I remember rewatching it. Like, I showed my brother. I was like, come look what the fuck they did. And the second time, it hit me. I'm like, man, they got me. They April Fools to me in the way that I expected it to be this cool trailer, and it was not. And I fucking died laughing the second time because it hit. I'm like, this is a joke. And oh my God, they actually went through with, there's a fucking song. And when it ends, like, finish the fight together. And him and Cortana like look at each other with the ring. Like, what the fuck? And who would have known I'd meet you years later and it'd be your fucking brainchild.
There you go.
Like, it makes so much sense knowing Nick and seeing that fucking. We'll watch the video in the post show.
Yeah, we can watch it in the post show. But that, I mean, and then getting the opportunity to do it, like that was obviously largely because of the Bungie promotion. We'd gotten a lot of views for it. And so people were like, oh, let's do this again. And it became kind of a tradition to do and then it eventually became a tradition of like, let's just make sort of like a fan-made fun thing and not try to fool people.
Yeah.
Because no one's going to get fooled. It's April Fools. Everyone figured it out. But that was the first time I remember really having that gut check moment of like, wow, this is not working. This is not good. And then the only person you have to rely on to make it work is yourself, because you're the one who's leading the project. And that's a very important thing for people in production to really understand, because sometimes things they're not going to go the way you want them to go. And you have two choices. You can quit, or you can figure out a creative solution that gets you to where you want to be. And the team pulled together and we did it, and it worked out, and it was fun. And thank God it wasn't crazy offensive to people. Because I think had we made that trailer now, people were like, yo, dude, I don't know.
No, I think it's
You don't
fine.
think it's fine? Okay.
It's fine.
I don't know. I'm hypersensitive to that now, but yeah, that's one of the ones that I thought that was one of the original, like, because at the time we were working on IGN Weekly, and that was one of the ones where I was like, hey, I really want to carve out like 2 weeks to just really work on this. And there was, I think one of the like at one point the dancers dropped out. They're like, we just don't like the song. It doesn't sound anything like, because the person who did the music for it didn't really understand like their specific background. And I think I want to say they were, I forgot what their ethnic background was. I want to say it was Indian, but they had done the song in more of a Mediterranean, like more Persian style. And in my ignorance was like, it all sounds the same to me, right? It all sounds great. And they were like, no, you don't understand. It's like really culturally insensitive. We can't dance to this. And it was like 2 days before we were supposed to go in to do the dance number at this thing that we had rented. And I was like, it was the first time I remember feeling like my heart go like, and I was like panicking. The world was starting to come down. I was like, what do you mean you can't dance? This guy's like, look, we talked as a group. This is what we stand for. And I was like, holy shit, what the fuck am I going to do? So we talked, and again, creative problem solving. I was like, well, do you have anyone that you work with that does your arrangements that could come in and make this sound the way you want it to sound? Use a couple of the instruments that you're familiar with, and would you be comfortable doing that? And the guy's like, oh yeah. Like I said, he's like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that. So he went from I quit, your project's ruined, to with one just figuring it out and talking through it, finding the solution that made them happy, and then the song, because the song before, by the way, the song was way better before. It was just way fucking cooler, more techno, but they were like, that's not what we're about. And so they didn't want to dance to it. And then when we came in, they gave us great performances. It was cool. Yeah.
Isn't it weird working sometimes, like we've done videos where it's been commissioned by a company and we'll do, our stuff.
I always hate those.
Well, it's a lot of, honestly,
the hard ones.
We've had really good luck because we always, typically the people who hire us know what they're getting, and it's like, oh, you guys are going to go crazy. Yeah, go nuts. So we've had really good luck, but every now and then there'd be something where it's like, okay, we went real weird, and then we give it to them, and then they'd be like, no, we're pulling the plug on this whole thing. Now, never mind. Here's and it would be like, well, just tell us what you think would be better. Oh, well, I mean, if you just cut the beginning out, and it's like, why didn't it start? Why didn't it start with that?
Because you have to also remember, and that's my question. Is like, I had 2 questions one comment, one question. Question first: do you give people rounds of revisions when they do commission work for you? Are you used to doing that? Because we usually do, like, if we'll do a client work where people are like, hey, we're going to commission you to make this video. Generally they'll be like, hey, we get 1 round of revision. We'll get some feedback for you. So we'll make sure you don't, like, you're not throwing out horribly offensive things that are going to hurt the brand.
Yeah. And that's kind of how it is with it's like, that's what's fair is it's like, yeah, okay, here's, we try to make it as clear as possible what they're going to get up front. And then it's like, okay, well, this could be better in this and this and this. Okay. And then that's usually it. If there's anything beyond that, it's usually, oh, we used the wrong logo. Okay. Swap that out. You know, there's very few things that went into such, there's only been a couple. There was one in particular where there was a battle over, I don't want to say what the game was, but
Ghostbusters, the video game.
No, there was one where we wanted to use a Lenny Kravitz song because it was a bunch of licensed songs, and we thought, well, who cares about Are You Gonna Go My Way? Like, that is the most out of left field song to play during this. And they wanted Party Rock Anthem at the height of Party Rock Anthem.
Yeah, people care about that
and
song
it was like, I don't want to do Party Rock. I don't want to, I can't hear that song anymore. And that was the biggest battle I think we ever had. And we won, and we got our Krav sesh.
Hell yeah, you did.
Yes.
Somebody's out there making the Krav.
Yeah.
What about you,
That's
Greg?
all.
Things I'm most proud of, video-wise. There's a bunch, I guess. I don't know. Up at Noon was awesome. You know what I mean? Up at Noon was...
Did you ever think back and go, why did they let us do that?
Yeah. But not even why, because at that point, there's a lot happening in IGN. I've been there 5 years when Up at Noon comes around, right? And I think, internally probably there was still a part of me that was like, not in the hubris sense of it, but like, I'm the most popular editor at IGN. And I'm not getting the video opportunities I think I deserve or that I should be getting here. And this is what I always talk about. How people are always like, man, you were at IGN a long time. Or when I was at IGN a long time, why are you still here? So many people burn out, especially editors. And it was just the fact of IGN, every time I came to them, except for the last time, with stuff I needed or wanted, right? They were always very much like, sure, here you go. Okay, we can make that happen. And they grew with me, right? And so about the time I was at that point of like, man, I'm not getting these video opportunities, but I know based on Beyond and going to events and all this other stuff that I'm popular. That's weird. And then I'll never forget that day where the start thing was happening over there, that they were doing, the start was going to happen. And you pulled me into the room with a bunch of other people and we're talking about what the different shows were. And I thought I was in there just to be the IGN guy like I always was, of just like check on what the IGN vision is and how it's going to go. And you mentioned you wanted to do this talk show, but have it be like a nighttime show kind of thing, blah, 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 blah. And that you wanted me to do it. And that was such a big moment for me of like, oh, wow, like the video team's coming to me, which is what I've always wanted. Not me having to go to you guys and try to convince you to do something with me.
And it was called The Greg Miller Show.
Yeah. The original title was The Greg Miller Show.
It was.
Yeah.
And
the pilot was filmed under the name Greg Miller Show until they were like,
it was.
well, no.
Like,
why
no,
would we do
you're
that?
going to build this up and leave the company one day. And you're like,
no.
I mean, to be fair, at the time, I was like, no way. There's not gonna. For me, I was like, it's all about Greg. It's gonna be about his personality. Like I saw you, and obviously we, like Tim and I, we shot millions of video, not millions, thousands of video with you. Lots of videos with you.
Yeah.
I would say millions. Like, if I could shoot millions of videos. We shot a lot of news videos with you. Obviously, like you did like PlayStation Conversation, all these products that prove to me the one thing that I look for when I want to work with people is that you're going to do all the work. Yeah. And I will take the credit.
Sure, of course.
And that's what was going to be great about it. But in all seriousness, I was like, he's super motivated. He's awesome on camera. He's a fucking natural. Let's give him something to do in this structure because there wasn't a lot of other people that I felt would do that. And not only that, but I was like, if we're talking about, and by the way, I don't think Up and Noon was my idea. I think that came from I think Grant at the time maybe had that idea. And it was a bunch of ideas thrown, and that was the one that we thought was most marketable to YouTube, even though I don't think that's even what YouTube wanted at the time. I don't think YouTube knew what they wanted.
They just wanted long form programming.
Well, it turns out they just wanted people to stick around the platform longer. But but what I thought was, I was like, oh, Greg is a guy that's going to go and book guests. He's going to go and he's going to make sure that we have a show every week, and that makes sense. And also, he's just got a natural talent that I want to see evolve into whatever it's going to be. Yeah. And it's it's a testament to what you used to do back then, and who you were back then, and obviously what you've grown into now. But it was. Yeah, it was kind of a no-brainer. That wasn't the hard part. The hard part was coming up with the name. So I was like, let's call it The Greg Miller Show. And I think it was Fran who was like, I think it might be better to have it a little bit less branded this person. Because what if it wasn't because you're going to build up and leave. It was, what if Greg leaves, then we don't have a show. Yeah. And I'm like, that's a good point.
I believe your point was like, if that happens, the show needs to change anyway. Which, to Brian and Max's credit, with Up at Noon now, it's a completely different show, right? They didn't just sub somebody in and try to do the exact
But I can understand, like,
Rocco, no.
Sorry, what?
Is this live?
It is unfortunately live. Kevin, cut that part out when it goes to.
Don't cut it out.
No, I'm joking around. But I mean that makes sense. So, like, from their perspective, and I totally get this, right? If you've got ad deals that are happening 8 months from now, you want to make sure that product is going to be there, so you don't have to like shift, and that totally makes sense, and it was good. I still stand by The Greg Miller Show. Needs to happen one day.
Oh, one day, sure.
Bring
I mean,
it back.
if only my name was in more titles. That's really what we need.
We'll make a little mini set here that looks exactly like the other set. But a desk that looks very similar. And we'll just do the show again.
To jump back to
this idea,
the fact that how they let us do it. It was the fact that they let us do it and then committed so many resources to it. That was because weird. IGN had in the YouTube deal had money to put into these projects, which I'm not trying to put down IGN, but it was before. Like, you knew what restraints were and you knew what was realistic.
Oh, well, that's why when I talk about the April Fool's video, I was like, they gave me a few $1,000s to do that video. I mean, I'm comfortable talking about that budget. It wasn't a ton as far as like a real production budget goes, but like thousands of dollars to do something for
people,
me.
Like we were talking about earlier, used to like $200 went into
that's
this?
what I was going to say. Like, we were lucky we shot a fucking weekly 25-minute long show that we spent $0 on. Like, I had to beg to go get costumes at one point. And I was like, Fran, no, this was for IGN Weekly. And I'm like, Fran, they're having a fucking sale at the Spirit Halloween store. Can I please just go and buy mustaches and fucking eye patches or whatever we might need for this? And Fran's like, well, I don't know, man. I gotta check the budget. And he'd bring up a spreadsheet and he's like, all right, you can spend $100 on that, but don't forget the receipt.
But that was the thing with Up at Noon, where it was.
Love you, Fran, if you're watching this.
It was the fact of, I'll never forget interviewing writers and having Drucker come to the office for this interview and interview him and then go eat waffles and fuck off at our desk. And it was like, that was cool. And going into, when we would do script reads, going into a room, and remember those initial ones when it'd be like 15 fucking people in that room? Yeah. And we'd all go through and tell what jokes we liked and didn't like and all this different stuff. And then, like, people. There was so much poured into it in that first year where it didn't feel like every other IGN project we had done, which wasn't bad, but it was an IGN project. And where this one was on such a different level, let alone the fact that, I always talk about it in terms of writing and podcasting. I had 5 years under my belt to get really good and build up a voice and know what I was doing. And to get tossed out there and suddenly reading jokes off a teleprompter that I didn't write, and I'm awful. Like those first months of Up
They
at
were
Noon
so
are
good.
awful. You know what I mean?
So
of
was
me,
the set. The
me
set
and
was terrible.
yeah, that too.
I can't tell you how many times that I said rented that set. I was like, we do this for like a month. 6 months later, the guy's like, I need those panels back. Like, I can't keep renting this
Yeah.
to you. That set probably cost us more than the other set that actually got built because of the rentals.
But it was like watching Brian and I grow into those roles, right? And let alone you grow into running a show like that. And then, you know, it was just such a great year and such a great upswing. And I'll never, you know, I mean, it still happens in a part of section of time where we don't talk positively about every other outlet. You don't talk about other outlets, period.
Yeah.
No one talks about what everybody
Yeah.
else is doing. It was, even though Twitter was there, it was very insular still.
Yeah.
And so like when somebody sent me a clip of the Giant Bomb panel at PAX whatever the fuck, and it was a kid in their crowd asking who's doing good content, and Jeff being like, I really like Up at Noon. Like they're doing, I was like, someone else watches this, let alone Giant Bomb is talking about it? Like that was fucking mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And then like there was that summer where it was right around the time we went to VidCon, but where it was like we had Troy and Ashley and Nolan and then David Hayter.
Yeah.
And that was like where it all went poof. And we were like, we had this giant upswing where I was finally into my swing of what to do. Brian was in his swing. Drucker was in his swing. We all knew what we were doing. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah,
and then Drucker left and the show fucking fell
Fallon,
apart.
Fallon fucking stole our head writer. I'll never
Yeah.
forget it.
And that was the
Our
thing
only
where
writer also.
it went the very, again, I'm not trying to be insulting. It went the traditional route of something at IGN, where we went that first year or whatever it was, where we were with Start, where YouTube was a big part of it. Drucker left. We then owned the show Lock, Stock, and Barrel. YouTube had nothing to do with it. And IGN just started pulling, after major layoffs where they got rid of a lot of Start people, then we started just losing everybody to where it would be me and Brian in a room with a whiteboard. Nick would come in eating an apple 15 minutes into the meeting. Be like, you guys got this? All right. You're like, all right, well, this is the show.
Yeah, it was weird. It was a weird time. It was a fun time.
It was a great time.
That
It was
first
great.
year of Start was actually, that was a very fun year to go through and just have a little bit of money to experiment with.
Yeah.
And be able to do that and be able to get you out there. I thought that was really, really fun.
Oh, and that's the thing too, is like it changed my career. It changed everything in terms of my trajectory and every other thing. You know what I mean? I've been talking about wanting to do a topic, and we'll never get to it, about your parallel life. And that was spurred on by when Steve just got let go at IGN. Like they don't have an EIC, and it's that thing of like, fuck. If Start hadn't happened and I wasn't given those kind of video opportunities, would I have stuck around at IGN long enough as an editor running the PlayStation, blah, 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 to where now I'd be in the running, I guess, to be EIC if I made it that far. Who knows? You know what I mean? But like, wow, that's mind-boggling to think of that different universe.
I think you would have been.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Definitely.
Tim,
Yeah.
what's your topic?
I just wanted to know, since we have you here, Rocco, with Mega64 and with Kind of Funny, I feel like, you know, there's all the different groups, right? Especially when you look at Rooster Teeth and like kind of how it splinters off with Funhouse and, you know, all the Let's Play Network and Screw Attack, Game Attack, everybody, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of similarities between a lot of us, and there's a lot of differences.
Sure.
Looking at you guys, you've been around 15 years now. Like,
God.
I remember, there you go.
Oh my God.
Number 3. I
Hey,
remember
artificial
watching
hip.
your guys' shit pre-YouTube, watching it, growing with it, all that
Yeah.
stuff. In the same time, I was watching Rooster Teeth grow and all that.
Sure.
And like watching you guys do your like booth prank wars against each other, all the like behind the scenes stuff, following along on social media and seeing this grow. And you guys seemed like neck and neck in terms of what you were doing. And then Rooster Teeth, like it took a while. It wasn't overnight. It took a while. I'd say maybe like somewhere between 8 and 10 years into what they were doing. They went from being, oh, we're just a couple guys doing some fun stuff to, oh, we're a fucking company.
Yeah.
And now they're what they are now, and we love them and all that. Whereas you guys stayed that, we're a couple guys doing cool
Stayed
stuff.
unsuccessful.
No, but I definitely wouldn't say that, because like you
Flopped.
you took a different route, which was staying small, but really committing to to growing what makes you guys you.
Yeah.
And like, so it is just the skit videos of you going out and stuff, but then it's also having the podcast, and it's also like these bigger deals and doing the game videos and all that.
Yeah.
And the Game Awards videos and stuff. And it's crazy to see you, because it's like at any moment you guys can put out a video that gets 1 million views. You know, and otherwise there'll be months that go by that you guys are just kind of doing your thing.
Whatever. Yeah.
So I guess the topic is like, is Mega64 where you thought it would be? Is it where you want it to be? And then for Kind of Funny, the same thing.
Yeah. We chose to be small and not grow much and not do well. So that was our choice, first of all, out of the gate. So I can't see the chat, but whatever they're saying, that was my choice. No, I think our approach has always been to, it's a cliche answer. Oh, we want to make each other laugh. That's all I care about. Huh? But honestly, like, we do what creatively fulfills us, and sometimes that works out. Sometimes there's definitely certain types of videos that we do. Like you're saying, it's like there's certain types of videos we do that we know, oh, that will get 1 million views. Yeah, okay, yeah, if we wanted to we want 1 million views next month, okay, we could do this kind of video or this kind of stunt, but I just feel like it's not doing a service to anybody to kind of, you know what I mean? To kind of just like do what is expected or well, we have to do something like this. Well, we have to, I don't think, there are definitely times where I look at stuff and I see a video that has 80 million views and I think like, this thing we just made is way better than this. I mean, honestly, there's time, everybody I think has that moment where it's like, why did this go viral? Like why, what did they, this thing I worked on for a month, this guy filmed the thing in 2 seconds and it's got 80 million views. What, there's always that moment, and there's always moments you wish, I wish we were bigger. I wish we were more successful. There's always things where you see other groups and you think those things, but I couldn't, I just feel like we've cultivated because we've been around so long and we're just cockroaches and we never die. We've cultivated
You're great
this
cockroaches though. You're beautiful.
You're our
Thank
cockroach.
Thank you. But we've cultivated this group of people that just feels the same way as us. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, it's your audience.
yeah, they are really in tune, and by doing our own thing, like we've done streams with Rooster Teeth before, and I've gone on the, they had 12,000 unique viewers at once. And I played a character and completely sabotaged the whole thing.
83.
Yeah, and it was not. And I remember people were telling me like, this was your opportunity to spread Mega64 to all these people, and you pissed them all off. Like why? Like why did you kind of wasted that opportunity? But I just feel like, but the people that see that and get what's going on now, those people have found us, and now they're who's going to come to our event that we do at the end of the year. Now they're the ones that are engaging with us. You know what I mean? And I feel extremely lucky, and I try not to take it for granted that we have this group of viewers and fans and friends that are just in tune, So I don't know. I think for us, we always want to do what is fulfilling to us. And sometimes it seems like we're kind of like quiet for a while, but we'll always, but then we, we're working on something. Maybe it's a bigger thing or a cinematic thing. But then once we finish that, it's like, I would love to do something stupid and quick and have, do a video where we're just running outside in our underwear, and whatever. Well, maybe not that, but
I'd
you know
watch,
what I mean? That we don't need to do. But you know what I mean? And I like that contrast. And I think because of that, people stick around because it's like, I don't really know what they're going to do next,
In terms of places, like seeing Rooster Teeth grow from, so we were lucky enough that we were in a spare bedroom, and then now we have this fucking awesome studio. And then looking at Rooster Teeth, spare bedroom to airplane hangars, like multiple airplane hangars.
Yeah, just weird. They don't have a plane.
What
Yes.
What is that?
Yes.
Bernie has his
They don't
goddamn
have a plane.
bus.
Yeah.
But like, how is your kind of like space been?
When we start again, it was my family's house. I think honestly, a big part of a big thing that we were thankful for too was that all of our families were supportive. So like we had one set in Sean's dad's garage, and then my parents' house had all the rest, and they didn't care, took over kind of some days, and they were supportive, and that was really cool, and we couldn't have done it without them. But then we moved. I think we learned quickly, like, if we want this to work, we don't want to go crazy and be cooped in the same room all the time. So we were early on, we pulled the money together to get like a really small studio, and then eventually a auto shop across the street closed down and no one wanted to rent it, so we took over that, and that's where we were for like 8 or 9 years. This greasy ass terrible, but we made that work. We were creative and made stuff out of nothing, but just this month now we're moving into a whole new facility that is actually like, just because again of people's support, like we're not the biggest thing on the internet by a long shot. I know it might be shocking to some people listening to this or seeing this, but no, but we're not. But we have such a devoted group of people supporting us. It's that we're able to expand, and now we have this big warehouse we're going to make a lot of terrible stuff in.
But does that inspire you? Like, are you excited to move into a bigger space that is more focused on video production?
It's a spark of it's kind of it just feels like, wow. I don't know. It just gets a spark going. You know what I mean? When it's like, even if the stuff that we film in there is little and stupid, it's still like, wow. There's kind of like room for everyone to make something weird. And I don't know. It's really exciting. I don't know. Yeah. So. Yeah, we still somehow we still are able to work with each other. I've known these guys since high school, so many years ago, and I think we respect each other creatively and are still able to tolerate each other somehow. And
That's huge.
Yeah, that is a big,
Probably
that
the
is
most
a big
important thing.
Oh, I'm saying that about that. I can't say if they're going to say the same thing about me.
Sure,
but
sure. They're happy you're out of the
I'm
office
over
today.
here. They're probably happy
Yeah,
about that.
yeah,
but,
exactly. Tim, are you happy with where Kind of Funny is?
Oh my God, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool because I feel like Kind of Funny is always just a weird, like ever growing thing that we're doing. And like, I feel like at all points we're looking at the next step while also dealing with what's happening right now. And I mean, again, not to beat a dead horse. That's
that's the one.
phrasing.
Touch its pud.
Not
to touch a dead horse's pud. Pull the dead horse's pud.
But it's it's amazing having Joey and Andy and my brother and then also Kevin, but we have him forever. But like being able to rely on them to do the things that either we don't want to do or that we know we're not the best at, and we're like, oh, you're gonna be better than. Having Andy be able to design promo graphics for when we do things instead of me and Nick being like. I think it should be like
Helvetica?
this. Yeah, right.
Helvetica.
Like that type of stuff's nice, but it's also fun to have the studio and to have designed it and thought about it. It's like, what do we do? And it's like, we do podcast. We want to do a whole bunch of other things, but we do podcasts. So let's figure out a way to make as many podcasts work as possible. A video wall makes sense. It does. A desk with a cool ass light bar makes sense. Let's invest that way. But at the moment we had it, we're thinking like, what's the next thing? You know? And I love that we're constantly able to iterate on the products, and I love that we have similar to what you're saying. It's like it is not we don't get millions of views, we don't get hundreds of thousands of views. Honestly, we get maybe tens of thousands of views.
We're at tens of thousands of views
on a good day. But those are the ones that matter the most because these people are family. These people help support us. These people give their feedback, and we can kind of grow together. And it's cool, even making little changes, changing this show from being 4 topics throughout the week to just being this, we're just going to talk and it's going to be one video. I feel like this show's been awesome. Even the last 3 weeks, right? Like,
and that's based on feedback from them because we can do that.
And having these little changes as we go, I feel like makes our content better and stronger and across the board, doing things like our Marvel show. Like that's fun. Like it's a new thing we're doing and we're adding even more work to our weeks, but I'm excited to sit for another podcast and talk to you guys for another hour every week. And like, that is really cool to me, and I also love having Rooster Teeth kind of be the big brothers and to look at them and see here's how we want to mimic you guys, but here's how we want to not.
We don't want to do that.
Here's how we want to keep
no barb
our thing very much ours.
We have a no barb policy. That's why she's been on the show.
She's been in a few of our videos and lowest viewed.
I was gonna say
viewed, man. Yeah,
they call her View Kryptonite.
They see the thumbnail. No, there's gonna be puns.
Not on my watch. I'm out.
Yeah, I think for me, just the business as it is, like I always have different expectations here and there all the time. And I think the one thing I've learned over the last like 3 years since we launched it, since we actually went on our own, was like the expectation. I don't know that we can have it ever be like pinpoint, right? To me, I think the more important thing is just to make sure that like we're hitting a lot of the core details that we have to hit. And as long as we're doing that, I feel like we're moving in the right direction. I might not know what's at the end of that at each junction, right? But I just know that it's going to be something good as long as we're continuing to put the creative energy in and getting that amplified back from the audience like tenfold. So yeah, I mean, I think I'm just happy that we have a place that we can come to every day where we can do creative stuff, where, like you said with like Andy, right? Where he does a promo image and I'm like, that is vastly better than anything I could have spent a day on that. And he's just like, boom, 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 Valentine's Day image, good. And I would have been like, it's so lovely to be able to tap into that creative energy and give him an outlet for that too, and give him a show like Party Mode and see what comes out of that and see what's that wacky shit in his brain. Yeah. I think that's really cool. And like part of my last like year of my life has been really, really less about focusing on the end goal and it's stupid and cliche to say, but really focusing on the journey because in there and the progress that you can make because in that space is where real fulfillment and happiness occurs. Yeah. It really doesn't even matter if we ever get to Rooster Teeth's size, as long as we're all happy wherever we're going to go.
I think
on that front,
something that I definitely want to make clear.
Don't get me wrong, I want to be Rooster Teeth's size because I love their production capabilities.
But that's the thing
that's
is like
awesome.
the size and scope and all that of Rooster Teeth, that to me isn't the goal. It's their ability to be creative on just their
ability to go.
Level.
I have they do like Jeff was like, I got to go because they do like pitch sessions every once in a while. So if anyone has an idea at the company, they can come and pitch it, and maybe you get to see that idea come through, come to fruition. I would have fucking killed to have that structure or being able to put that structure in place at IGN. I would have killed to have been able to be like, I have a funny idea for a skit, and there is a production, an entire arm, a fucking hangar of of a company that you can go, that's a good idea. We've got everyone.
They can look at it and then have the right people that can be like, hey, you should think of it this way.
Tweak it a little bit, do this,
and then boom.
And then suddenly you get, instead of going like every single time we have a funny idea, we have to recreate the wheel.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
and something that I love about where we're at, and I feel like this is being overly dramatic because there wasn't ever really a point that we were doing something that I'm like, oh, we don't need to be doing this. But I feel like now is the best we've ever been about, at least I feel this, I don't know if you guys agree, but there are very few things that I'm like, parts of my day, parts of the shows that we do that I'm like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Like there was a time where I was like, I don't want to have to prep Gamescast. Like when Gamescast was 4 topics broken out, like it was stressful to me to try to come up and see the comments and see people not like it. But it's like, oh, but there's business reasons of why we're doing this. And that makes sense. But it's like trying to solve this puzzle was always so hard. But where we're at now, I'm like, oh, I feel like we've cracked a code that people seem to like it. I like doing it. I like planning it. And like Games Daily is like we solved the problem of morning show. People want to hear about games, but also us wanting to make it just fun and shenanigans. Split it into 2 shows and let's serve those audiences differently. And like, I feel like we're doing a much better job of being collaborative, working together, and being like, hey, where are the problems in the products we do? Like, how can we fix them and how can we make everybody happier and cut the bottom 10%? You know what I mean?
Get rid of that bottom 10%. Throw it out. Yeah. No, I did a podcast, the 1099 podcast the other day. And
1099, man, it's important shit.
It is. In it was a conversation about, like you're busier than ever, and like how do you keep it all straight? And it was that weird thing of when, you originally pitched Kind of Funny Games Daily, Tim. It was that I was like, there's no fucking way. There's no way we can do another podcast, a daily games podcast. You and me are going to be on the morning show as well. And it wasn't until we came back the next day and it was like, well, what about contractors? And like what you're talking about again, like, I don't think we chase the size of Rooster Teeth, but getting Andrea and Danny and now who's the other guy? Gary Whitta in here and maybe future people down the line. Like, I can't tell you how energized that makes me to do the show. Like I was talking to Gary today, right, where I undid my mic and leaned back and talked to him. He's like, you don't usually do that. I'm like, everybody's got a different vibe, and our vibe is talking about something really in-depthly, not doing a million questions, doing like 2 and getting into them. And that's so creative, fulfilling for me. But the fact that show's there and that my morning has to be prepping that show has made the days so much more structured. The days have to run on a schedule now. So it's not how it used to be of, cool, we're gonna do this. Well, let's shove a Let's Play in the middle here. All right, that's pushing game over. Well, Colin's got a heart out here. Well, blah, blah, it's like, and then we're all mad because something didn't work or that didn't happen and blah, blah. Like, we promote that we
blame Kevin.
We
Kevin.
promote it. We're live at 3. We're going to be live at 3. We're trying to make that work. And when we were slipping last year with it, Joey pulled us aside and was like, you can't fucking do that. If you say 3, you got to hit 3. And we're like, you're right. No problem. That's so helpful. And that's been so healthy for us, I think, in all of our psyches in terms of keeping it going and pulling ourselves away from the computer or scheduling a call at the appropriate time. I'm incredibly happy with where we are now. Like, I really feel like, with Kind of Funny Live 3, it was such a great soft reboot of like, here's what it
soft
is.
Reboot. That's what
here's who we are and what we're doing and what you're going to get from us. And we've delivered that. And I think, like I said, the contractors have been such a big deal. Being able to have Aaron Porter, who, like just our RTX guardian for so many years, be like, oh, hey, can you edit all of this stuff? And he just edits shit and sends it back. And it's like, great. And then it's also the idea of seasonal content now, where it is, hey, let's do a Goofy show. Let's do the PSVR show or Cooking with Greggy or whatever, or like now the Marvel show. And it's like, we didn't have our heads wrapped around that before because we want to do a show, but we don't want it to be indefinite. How do you fit an indefinite show in there? But when it is going to be 8 episodes, that's easy. And all of that, the contractors, whether they be on camera, off camera, the new shows is all because of the support on Patreon. Like, you know what I mean? The fact that people have stuck with us and continue to be there and want to continue to support the product. So we hope we're giving it back to you.
Jeez, kiss ass.
That's what I do, man. You know what I mean?
Man.
Get them Patreon buckos. Hit me up, Forbes. I got an article for you.
All been very congratulatory. I think we need to go into what we hate.
Kevin.
What we just what?
No, I love it.
What
Kevin's
doesn't work?
Come get a hug, Kevin.
Who's not doing the
Come
job?
here.
Kevin, tell him to
get
go
your
fuck
hug.
himself. Kevin, tell him to fuck himself. Kevin's crying now.
Well, I want to
You happy
say,
with that?
well, okay, counterpoint. This guy brings in all these pogs, and I'm excited, and I pull this one out, and he says, no, we got to keep that.
Where is it?
Yeah, right here.
It blends
Go.
in with the black.
Don't
does.
want to lose that.
There's a lot of those. You can have
Thank you.
it.
I'm sorry.
No, it's
You
fine.
can have this more. I
I'm
found
sorry.
one.
It was when we accepted them. I said I would keep this
Yeah,
one.
well, first it giveth, then it.
Take it away.
How did you?
I read minds. I read your mind.
Whoa.
We're also actually the same person. I don't know if you know that or not, but
I had a
you're-
suspicion.
It's like Fight Club.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, this has been the Game Over Greggy show. Each and every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table, each bringing a random topic discussion for your amusement. If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindafunny, where you can get each and every episode along with the pre-show and post-show early. If you got no bucks to toss our way, though, no big deal. It goes up on Friday on Patreon. The following Friday, 1 week later, it's up on youtube.com/kindafunny and podcast services around the globe. Rocco.
You didn't get to the last subject. There's like one more.
No, I did.
Cat. What does it say? Cats. Keep them or kill them.
Kill him.
That
You'd
is a
have to
tough
stay with
one.
the post show.
Like,
Post show.
who wrote that?
Post show.
No,
I
this
don't
is
know.
now show.
You are oddly obsessed with killing animals. I just want you to know
It's-
that all
you
the
know,
morning show you were talking about recasting. What was it? Cujo with a lobster and then blasting it with a fucking.
No, that was
Uzi?
Old Yeller.
Sorry.
Cujo we want to kill. Old Yeller we didn't want to kill.
Even better.
Okay. And let me just say, I'm sorry, killing animals is the new taboo. Someone's got to talk about it.
You can find Rocco on Mega64. He does a lot of amazing stuff over there.
Patreon.com/Mega64.
That's right. Yeah, if you want to contribute, if you love me after what I just said, you're going to want to throw a few bucks our way. Thank you.
Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, it's been our pleasure to serve you. Hey everybody, thanks for watching the Game Over Greggy show. I really gotta pee. Click up here to subscribe to the channel. Click down here to go to our Patreon. Click over here to see Rocco in a funny video, and click down here for Cool Greg's Choice. Apparently,
What
too,
videos,
Cool
though?
Greg and Kevin haven't been actually annotating these for a long time.
That's not true.
I'm just telling you what I see on Reddit.
It's what I see. It's what I see all the time.